That.
Welcome to MMA on the Rocks. My name is Bill Welker. You are listening to episode 355 of the podcast. Today is Sunday, March 31st, Easter Sunday. So very happy Easter to all those who observe. We are fresh off of UFC Atlantic City, the Las Vegas of the East. Before we get into that, let me introduce my very special guest this week, former host of the Loaded Joes MMA Podcast, which those of you who have been around a long time will remember. I think current host of the Unfiltered Bachelor, but there hasn't been an episode since about August, according to my records. But we'll get into all that, all the way from the great state of Texas, Mr. Money Blakeweather, Blake Stephenson. Blake, how's it going, my man?
What is happening, man? You know what I was thinking about? I was like, the last time we did a show together, we didn't have kids. So now we do a show together, we have kids.
No, that's not true.
Did you have it? Was your daughter born already, or was she like?
Yeah, my daughter's 6, man.
Yeah, we hadn't done. When was the last time we did a show?
Well, I did the Unfiltered Bachelor.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And that must have been
right when she was like born, or like shortly before she was born.
I think it was like 3 years ago.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, but almost the last time. Almost the last time then. I've there's been a lot of alcohol involved over the years.
Yes, there has been a lot of that. I mean, so before we get too far into this, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of ball breaking on this episode. So I'll start off by saying something nice.
Okay.
So Blake not only hosted an MMA podcast back in the day, which was an excellent MMA podcast, but he also put together a community of MMA podcast hosts. You see, kids, there used to only be a handful of us. Now everyone and their grandmother has an MMA podcast, not just any podcast, but an MMA podcast. I'm pretty sure like Cowboy Cerrone's grandma has a MMA podcast. Yeah.
Just checked it out right before this. It was great.
Yeah. It's called Grammy on the Ranch or something. And so what Blake did was brought us all together, and we would kind of share tips on podcasting, and that contributed to the fine product that you all see before you. No, but in all seriousness, Blake bringing all the MMA podcast hosts together really helped out a lot. We all shared like tips with each other and listened to each other's podcasts and gave each other feedback. Almost none of those podcasts exist anymore. I'm the only dumbass still doing this. Yeah. So Blake went on to do, more sophisticated and grown up things like,
host a dating podcast, right? Because that's what you do.
Yeah. Well, I'd say it's probably a little more mature than doing a podcast about fighting and drinking. But anyway, I will give you your due respect for forming that community, and I appreciate it to this day.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I was actually super important to do because, like there weren't a whole bunch of MMA podcasts that like it feels like the Wild West, right? Because like when I started Loaded Joes in 2014. I was just thinking about this the other day. Like there was like MMA Junkie, Fighter and the Kid were just barely starting to talk about MMA. Joe had just started his Fighter Companion. Who else was doing the writers? There was writers from MMA Junkie, Chad Dundas and Ben Folks and Chad Dundas. They had their own podcast. But unless you were an MMA like journalist, it felt like MMA Roasted too. That was, man, shout out to Adam Hunter. But like that was it. That was like all you had. And so like I was like, where are all like the rest of like the MMA podcasts? Like, what about like if I'm not an MMA journalist? What if I'm just a fan who wants to drink with my friends and then talk about fighting? Like, so Loaded Joes was super born out of that. Like I was like, what if we had like our own like drunkish opinions and then spoke with fighters? So even since the first episode, we interviewed a local fighter named Matt Jones, and yeah, I mean, it went great. He loved it. Like I remember him reaching, he was like, I wasn't sure about the show, but like it was fun. And then like afterwards he was like, bro, that was a blast. I want to come back on. So like I was like, okay, there's definitely something here. But so all that to say, when I saw all these category of people like 2 years in, I was like, well, what if I listened to this XYZ show. I've seen this show before on YouTube. Like, why are we not all like, hey, hanging out together? Why do we not all know each other? Like, that's weird. So then I just started adding people and being like, I'm going to go on your show. I want you on my show. And then just adding them into like Loaded Joe's community. And it was essential for me to like connect people because like, why are we not? Why we're everybody's got a Facebook. Why are we not friends? Like, don't make no sense. And so instead too of like everybody having their own like being their own little lords of their kingdom and having their 50 subscribers. Well, now you're getting exposed to the same audience. Maybe this person has 1,000. Maybe this person has 500, and like you can grow. We can grow bigger just by coming together. And not everybody has to agree. I mean, some people have beef with each other, and that's fine. But like. At least you will like make some sort of networking connection, whether it's a fighter, coach, or podcaster or journalist. Somebody, you're going to make a connection for sure. And that's exactly what I wanted to do.
I had the opposite effect. My 50 subscribers would go and listen to the other shows and just all of it. They're like, wow, there's way better shows out there.
What have I been doing?
What Bill's drunk ass is doing every week. No, but it was awesome. And it was weird because everything was so kind of siloed and we all kind of knew about each other, but never really interacted. But, those days were awesome when we were all kind of just like one unit of like, underdog podcasts. But, a lot of those have come and gone, and there's been a lot that have come and gone since. And now it's pretty saturated, right? Because like every fighter's got a podcast, every former fighter, commentators, I'm sure referees, everybody. But I'm gonna pour myself a drink here, and in honor of you, my guest, I'm
still Austin whiskey.
That's right,
bro. Y'all got it out in Florida. That's dope.
We absolutely do, and I really enjoy this. So this is the musician, the straight bourbon. From the great state of Texas. So I'm going to pour a little neat pour of this still Austin. Lovely. Cheers to you, my friend, who is living in Austin.
Yeah, I was going to say to get to, I've been here all my life, man, to get a whiskey from my city while I'm on the show, bro. Shout outs to you. I got Buffalo Trace. So cheers to you. I found the finest thing I could find.
Cheers. Yeah. It's hard to come by these days.
It is.
Thanks, Joe Rogan. How are you sipping on that Buffalo Trace? Is it neat?
It's just straight neat.
There you go.
A little bow tie, just straight neat.
That's the way to do it. And I know you've heard this before, but everybody always sees me drink my whiskey neat. And the only reason I don't drink ice in my whiskey, the only reason the show is MMA on the Rocks is because MMA neat would have been a stupid name for a show.
It's not as catchy, bro.
No, I don't think I would have lasted with that one.
No. But you know what? You went the different direction, and look at you. Hey, look at you now. You've been doing the podcast for years now. Look at you.
It'll be 8 years in July.
Congratulations, man. It's such
thanks, I guess. When can I retire? There's gonna be no gold wristwatch at the end of this train.
Trust me, there's not. As somebody that's flipped script onto my podcast already once, and I'm about to do it twice. Like there is no finish line. And you alluded to, like, I haven't uploaded an episode of Unfiltered Bachelors because I am changing it, and I also too moved into helping friends of mine start a YouTube channel in September called Nerds at Night. So I break down. So I was always sort of juggling a lot of stuff, and I was co-hosting a YouTube channel called 9 Nerd Yards. And we were talking about TV shows, mainly like Atlanta. We talk about The Mandalorian. We talked about what was that damn zombie show that came out last year? Last of Us, I guess is what it was. Secret Invasion, right? Like, so much being like nerds, just being nerds. So we started a channel called Nerds at Night, play off of Nick at Night for sure. And we started in September, and now that channel is about to be monetized on April 12th. We're going to submit for monetization. We tried once, we had to clean up some stuff, but I mean, getting our 4,000 watch hours, we're over 1K subscribers. I think we're at 1.4 today. And so that channel's just been really doing good, but I had to focus a lot of effort in that direction, and also rethink. I mean, having a kid, rethinking, dating and relationships and the people. I don't know, man. Like the culture and the people I was interviewing, it just made me sort of. I'm like, I don't want to. I want to talk about more. I want to talk about more. So
Yeah.
that channel will actually be called. And I've recorded 2 episodes so far. I want to have 4 going, but it's going to be called Sensible and Sensitive. And it's just going to be a live podcast. I'd probably love to have you on. I want to just have everybody on and just like
Hell
we just have like some like honest conversations, honest mental health conversations, honest conversations about family, about me and you could talk about being parents. I'd love to pick your brain. And just again,
No,
just
you
like
wouldn't. Here's the answer to everything. This is the answer to all your questions.
Well, thank y'all, folks. That's been all of Bill Welker on Sensible and Sensitive. But yeah. That's the direction that I'm going there. But I've still been doing stuff, and I just hadn't posted a whole bunch on my channel about it because I'm like, if people know that I've been doing 9 Nerd Yards, they'd know that I'd be doing Nerds at Night. And if they don't know, they're not going to follow right now. So I'm not going to tell them. I'm already building my own audience that's not my online friends. Mm-hmm. So for me, doesn't matter. I'm not gonna tell them. Like, I'm just gonna keep doing stuff, and people are gonna keep watching and making the channel like popular. So that's sort of my take, man. Yeah.
And by the way, I'd feel like an asshole if I didn't wish you a public congratulations on becoming a father. Your son is absolutely adorable. Can I say his name on here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Your son Hudson,
absolutely
Hudson, adorable. Man. His little Easter outfit today, off the cuteness charts.
Oh man!
So big congrats, my man.
Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah, his mom keeps him draped up and dripped out, bro. That dude's got so much swag in his closet, bro. But yeah, I appreciate it, man. I feel super blessed. November 14th, life sort of does a little 180, and it's been nothing like I could think or imagine or expect. I always I think you talk to any guy, like, I always want a boy. I did always want a boy. I got a boy. It's great. I'm happy, so there's not being he's healthy, so there's not. I just feel super blessed, and I appreciate it, man. And I'm happy to see your family like just going on trips and being together, and your daughter always got a little personality of her own, bro. I think I see it now, and I'm like, that's cute, real cute, man.
She's got a little too much personality. This kid, she's running the show over here.
Yeah.
So we'll get to the MMA stuff, but somewhat related. So you're in Austin, and probably since the last time we've spoken publicly, Austin has blown up.
Oh, yeah.
As far as a destination. Thanks, Joe Rogan.
Thanks a lot.
So, are you anywhere near the mothership? Have you attended this?
No, I live near downtown. I live about maybe 6 minutes away from downtown. I live very close to downtown. Okay. I have not been to Mothership though. I did. So it used to be an old Alamo Draft House. I don't know if you know Alamo Draft House, because I know they're all over the United States.
Yeah. We used to have one in New York. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So for those that don't know, it's like a movie theater, but like with like a wait staff service. So that way you ain't got to get up and go get, your popcorn or whatever. They bring it to you. You just get a little note card and you just put it in front of your seat, and they come in front of you throughout the movie, come pick it up. If you want beer, they serve beer full of drinks, and it's not just popcorn. You can get like a burger, you can get some chips and case. Like, they got all kinds of stuff on it. It's a full menu, full bar, and it's a full movie experience. And Alamo Draft House has just a unique culture of just like the movies that they show sometimes. Sometimes it's like old school classics. And they always have all the new ones, but sometimes they do like a Throwback Tuesday and they put on some sort of, nostalgia B-class movie, So I love Alamo Draft House. And the mothership used to be Alamo Draft House Ritz, which was basically the downtown location. And it only had like, I don't know, had like 2 or 3 screens or something, which is they just turned those theater screen rooms into the stand-up rooms that they are now, which is super cool. But I have not been. If I were to go, I'll be honest, it would be like on a Tuesday or like a Wednesday, you know what I mean? Like where it's just like an off night where like somebody's gonna test out material. Like I don't want I live in Austin and I hate hype. I hate the ACL stuff. And I go to it like last time I went to it was 2019, but I wanted to go see Childish Gambino, so that was cool. But like I don't like all the hype around. Everybody in Austin's always on some hype shit. Like everybody always, what's what is popping up over here? What's this new place? And da-da-da. So everybody always buys up all the tickets for the mothership when it's something Saturday, whether it's Joey Diaz or like a Joe Rogan or Dave Chappelle. They do a lot of shows over there all the time. And it's always selling out. So I'm like, I don't want to go if everybody's. I think that's crazy. So, but I will go and I will report back. How about that, Bill?
I'd like to know. But I hate to give you some spoilers here, but now that you're a dad, that bitterness for the hype stuff is gonna grow. especially because like as your son gets older, like, hey, I want to do this and that. It's like, no, the fuck you don't.
No, you don't. Don't.
Like we have over here in Tampa, they do what's called Gasparilla, and it's the biggest thing in the area. It's basically a parade where everybody gets wasted and dresses up like pirates. And they fucking love Gasparilla here in Tampa. I went and I was like, all right, it's a bunch of drunk pirates. And like people are falling over each other and like it's crowded. And I'm like, I'm too old and grouchy for this shit.
Right. Yeah. No, get out that get that all out of my face. I want no part of that.
Yeah. I'm even kind of over concerts to a certain degree. Like if it's a popular concert, like I'll go to like see some old guys, but like I'm going to see Buddy Guy in concert in 2 weeks. I think he's 86 or 87 now.
Yeah,
that's like peak. That's my speed.
Yeah, that's peak right there. That's what you wanted to be doing.
But real quick, let's transition into MMA. So we got my buddy Matt the Mechanic who does Thursday shows with me where he makes picks and I ridicule him for them. Okay. So he pretty much bombs every single week.
Okay, nice.
And last week he had a complete reverse parlay. He went like 0 for 6.
Okay.
So now he probably has everybody listening so they can bet opposite him.
Okay, nice.
And he screwed them all, Blake, because he got every pick correct this week.
Wow. Matt, go buy a lottery ticket right now and scratch, like an Insta scratch or something. Go do something with that luck.
Yeah, and he must have really gotten to the point where people are probably tuning in to see who he's going to pick against him because he was picking wrong so often, and he put the screws to all of them.
Oh my gosh.
He also has a question, which I believe is directed at you. If he wanted to fly into Austin for the weekend, what are the chances he could get tickets for a show at the mothership?
You probably a good chance. Just pick out whatever. If you know what day you're going, just go online, find to see if they got
probably tickets. Depends who's playing, right?
It really because if it's Chappelle or Joe Rogan, unless you're buying it the day of, you're not going to get tickets. I guarantee you like that. If it's like Joe Rogan and like Friends, like if he does like a Burt Kreischer type, you have a few days to buy those tickets before they sell. But like a lot of it sells out because it's just like I think one room has like 110 and the other room has like 150. So like they do two shows, like a 7 p.m. and like a 9 p.m. or something, like they do like 2 shows like that or like a 10, 12 p.m., whatever. So like you have 4 chances, over the course of 2 days to get some tickets. But just if you know what day and it's like somebody like whatever, not of anybody I just said, there's a good chance you could get some tickets actually.
Get it in advance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So there was UFC Atlantic City, and I want to get into that, but I'm not that excited about it. So
I was like, bro, we got to talk about this card. Like,
yeah, we do. There's some fun talking points, but I think I'd rather, before we talk about Atlantic City, let's do hot take or take a shot.
Oh, shit.
Now, I prepped you for this, so I let you know what the segment is. So you have to come at me with an MMA hot take. I have to debate you on it and try to change your mind.
Okay.
If I can't change your mind, I have to take a shot.
Okay.
Now, you've agreed to this ahead of time. If I do change your mind, you're taking a shot.
Yes.
If we agree to disagree, we're both taking a shot.
Yes, that's correct.
All right.
And
So
what are the rules?
do you have I've studied them.
I've been watching this on instant replay. Listen.
Trying to find a loophole. How can I get him to take 2 shots? Might be
Is there a double or nothing?
Yeah. All right. So do you have an MMA hot take for me?
I do. Yeah. I don't know how much of a hot take it is because, like, if you think about it, when I say it, you take some time to think about it. I think it's going to be completely accurate. My MMA hot take is GSP could come back today and still come back and get the welterweight belt. That's it. He could because there has been no great welterweighters since he left.
There's been no. All right. I'm gonna.
You can pick it. Yeah, you can pick it, and we could be like, okay, like maybe there are some good ones.
I'm gonna flat out disagree with. There's been no great welterweights since he left. Kamaru Usman.
He okay. He very boring. He's very boring, bro.
Wait a sec. All right, boring, but that doesn't deny.
Like did he beat people? Fight. Yeah, he beat people. That's great, man. Like Bilal Muhammad beat people too. Like that doesn't mean he's great, you know. Like and you know, I hope he does good in going forward. But like sometimes you just because you win doesn't mean it's. I mean it's like come on, man. Never have somebody like this. Here's a perfect example. When GSP fought Josh Koscheck for the second time, never has there been a fight where it's been more referenced where like a fighter using a jab and using a jab very effectively. Never also as a fighter I'd seen up until that point when GSP did it, gone to a boxing gym to go just learn how to throw a goddamn jab from Freddie Roach. Like, come on now. What are we talking about? So like, I think that there's lasting legacy. And it was even right. It was like right after that fight, everybody just started, like Joe, and it was just a talking point for like all these people to be like, oh my God, the jab, and this is how it's supposed to look. Like, I've never seen that lasting effect from who'd you say? Kamaru Usman?
That is who I said, yes.
Okay.
So I don't think excitement should be a factor with legacy because I don't think I need to remind you GSP had some snoozers too.
Oh yeah, the John Fitch fight. I always think about that one.
I mean, how many fights did he finish as champion?
Not a whole bunch. By like between, I'll say this, between Thiago Alves and all the way fast forward up into who was his last one, the Johnny Hendricks. There was no finishes, and then finally he got a finish with the Bisping. You know, but we're not counting that. I'm just saying, you know, he didn't. There was a long stretch of time. What was that 5 years? 2009 to 2014. He didn't have. It was all decisions, and you knew what you were getting into. Like I knew what I was getting into when I watched a GSP fight, and so I hear you, right? I hear like where the argument's sort of stemming from. Again, I'm a Floyd Mayweather fan. When's the last time you finished somebody? You know what I mean? Like
2002.
You leave that boy alone now, and we're not counting Victor Ortiz. Like, okay, he finished him, great, but
we won't count Connor either.
Oh, no, you can't count that. You can't count that. No.
All right, so I think I nullified your excitement argument. So you're dismissing Usman because he was boring, but the man still ran through the welterweight division twice before running into Leon Edwards, who he has a win over.
Well, why couldn't he beat him again? If he got a win over him, why couldn't he beat him again? If he's so good, beat him again.
It was a close because Leon got better.
Because he's not that good. That's why, because Usman's just not that good.
And then have Leon Edwards is an outstanding fighter. And I'm not the biggest fan of him either, but I'll go to bat for him here. Leon Edwards is a striker. Out-grappled Gunnar Nelson.
I remember, yeah, that was a big deal when that
Took
happened.
down Kamaru Usman. All-American wrestler.
Okay.
My contention is not with GSP could come back and win the title. My contention is that there hasn't been a great welterweight.
It's because
since GSP left.
Okay, well, I mean, there hasn't been
because Usman held the belt longer than almost any other champion of any other division since GSP left.
We're not talking about other division. We're talking about strictly about GSP's division, which is welterweight.
Right. So
you didn't beat him. You didn't beat that. You didn't beat that record. Like that belt has been passed around and around and around, bro. Like there's not just been a solid champion. Like I get it. Like Kamar's probably the best example outside of like who's the next after that. Tyron Woodley, like right? Like that would be, I guess, next. I don't know. Like, but like GSP can still come back and like don't matter which one of the people of the last 5 champions that was welterweight, he'd come back and he'd beat him.
Listen, no. GSP is not coming back at, what is he, 39, 40?
He could come back.
He could come back.
If you follow him on Instagram, he's not coming back heavy. He's not coming back heavy again. Like he's not getting that gastro whatever,
Yeah.
He got.
Yeah. No. That. I mean, he looks leaner than he did when he was fighting.
Mm-hmm.
If he comes back at like 40 years old, he's getting KO'd by Leon Edwards.
He's not getting KO'd by Leon Edwards.
Yeah, he is.
Happening. Things that are not happening. That's not happening.
I mean, look, a GSP and I think are about the same age.
Okay.
Like, I just think at that weight, it would be so hard to come back and compete at a championship level. That, I mean, I'm a huge GSP fan. I would love to see him come back and go right into a title shot.
Yeah.
I would be nervous as fuck if he came back and got in there with Leon Edwards right now. I just don't. I mean, there's, all American wrestlers couldn't take down Leon Edwards. And the striking difference, like, yeah, GSP had a jab. He had very clean boxing. He had great, Shotokan kicks and stuff. But Leon Edwards is a different level of explosiveness. So
that's what they all said about everybody that GSP beat. That's what they all said about everybody.
Right, but he would have to outpoint him. He would have to go 25 minutes avoiding a knockout.
And he could do it because we just talked about the amount of non-knockouts that he had for like a 5 years. If anybody could do it, he could. Like everything you're saying, he's done and can do.
Yeah, but now he hasn't fought at welterweight in what, 5-6 years?
Man, it's been a long time, and that's fine. No. He came back at middleweight, right? So it would have been, if he comes back, for instance, right, this year, it'd have been a decade because he walked away from the sport after the Johnny. Was it Johnny Hendricks in 2013 or 2014? I'm trying to think, but it would have been about a decade now. We'll call it a decade.
Yeah, a fight that many people would argue he lost.
Yeah. It was close. It was very close. Depends on just.
And Johnny Hendricks, he battered GSP's face up pretty good. Johnny Hendricks is nowhere near as fast or as explosive as Leon Edwards.
No, I'll say that, but then you don't need to be fast or explosive or like you. What was you say? You say fast and explosive. You don't need that if like you're throwing like 18 wheelers for hands at somebody. Like they're gonna the impact you're gonna see it on their face. Like if they're a heavy hitter, they're a heavy hitter, and if you're anywhere around that, and you're not in the, just your face is a little bit outside, you bob, but your face is gonna feel it, bro. And I think especially too, like GSP, like just he would get hit in the face sometimes, and it shows a little wear a little bit. That's fine.
There is a small. All right, so if GSP comes back, fights Leon Edwards, who's going to be the betting favorite?
Leon Edwards for sure. That's fine. Like that's absolutely fine. The argument's not.
But why would he be the betting favorite?
Because that's what Vegas would do, right? That's what sport odds.
Why would they do that?
Because they think he's going to win. But the whole point is, but that's not the point of this argument. The point of this argument is a hot take.
And is Vegas designed to keep their money or to lose it?
It's designed to keep their money, but that's okay if they want to be wrong. They had Jose. How much stuff have they gotten wrong though? Right? Like where like somebody comes in and they just clean sweep somebody or like wins, and you're like, I mean, we should have seen the writing on the wall, right? Like, why did we even think that?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean just because they have that as the odd one doesn't mean it could change. Because that's how live odds work, right? Like if money goes in one way or another and it gets closer. And two, like just because they have it doesn't mean that that's always the person who wins.
All right. I like this hot take. I respect it, but we're going to have to agree to disagree on this one. We're both doing a shot.
Fair enough.
Now, I can agree if you left it at GSP could come back and win the title, and we just argued that. But when you brought in, there hasn't been a great welterweight since he left.
There hasn't been.
Where you can't convince me of that. So what are you pouring over there?
Let me finish this little bit of. You know what? I'll do a.
Are you doing something gross or are you doing a good shot?
No, I'll do a good shot, like a decent one, you know.
Okay. Well, usually, like the punishment is you have to do a shot of something gross, but we'll.
Oh, okay.
We'll be gentlemen here if you want.
I'm trying to think of like what gross that I have. I don't buy gross stuff. You know what I mean? So.
Oh, I do, just because. It's good content. Like this shit. Disgusting.
That doesn't look great.
This is the stuff that
is that Dana White's?
Yeah, the banana whiskey.
Yeah, it sounds rough.
I'm not gonna do a shot of that. I also have this disgusting bottle, which I bought just because it's the UFC edition Blackheart rum.
Wow.
And I guess I'll drink this one.
All right.
Just because you put up a good fight.
I didn't come to be punked around, is all I'm saying.
I know. I expected some heat from you. So you got something there?
Yeah, I've got and somebody may get mad. I've got Crown Royal Northern Harvest Rye because I like when I do my old fashions. The best way to make old fashions, if you want the most flavors, you use a rye. The best type of ryes are Canadian ryes, and I couldn't find.
Oh my god, that's a horrible take.
It's not a take. It's like this is like honest that this is how rye grows. Rye grows better in cold weather, and the original old fashions were all made with rye. So if that by that logic, you want to use rye to be traditional, the best rye that you can get comes from Canada. Is the best rye? Is this the best rye whiskey? No, probably Canada's got some stuff that I've never heard of, or like you get Whistle Pig or something. But like, you know, I was like, man, they got it. They don't always have this, so I'll buy it.
We're gonna call that a hot take because I've never had a good Canadian whiskey.
Oh wow, okay, interesting.
All right, so we shooting this here?
Yeah, I'm shooting this.
Cheers, sir.
Cheers.
Oh. That's gotten worse with age.
Wow.
Oh.
All right.
Like,
let's see. Move on to Jaeger shots next.
Oh yeah, bust out the Jaeger. Let's
I specifically don't buy it so that way if I'm I never bought it because I was like, if I ever go on MMA on the rocks and they want me to drink something gross, I don't want to have that on hand, so I was looking. My past self was looking out for my future self.
I'm sending you a bottle of Jaeger. Let me write this down. Jägermeister to Blake. I will need your PO box when we get off. We get off air here.
Oh, this is gonna be fun.
I love that that's your first thought. If I go on MMA on the rocks, I don't want to have anything gross.
No, man. I always knew that I was going to come back, right? Like I always, like when you go to like an old high school game or something, you're like, oh dang, like my old alum, like oh crazy, it's 20 years. You always know you're going to go back. I always knew I was going to come back here, man.
It was just a matter of time, Blake.
Yeah, facts. That's it. Now, do we have to talk about this card?
Yeah, we have to. So. We can kind of like just skim the main event. There wasn't a whole lot to it.
I thought, it's funny. Before you get to the main card, like, man, on the prelim, that Nate, what's his name? Nate and Jamal Emmers fight. Like
Landwehr.
That was great. That was nice. That was fun. That was a fun fight.
That fight was fucking wild. I
Yeah,
mean,
that dude get beat up the whole time and then just comes back. Like, what? That's
Nate
crazy.
Nate Landwehr was unconscious, I think, at 2 points in that fight. Like, his brain went from on to off, and then back.
Instant reboot.
And Jamal Emmers was doing everything right.
He was doing great.
You know,
He's a little wild, but he was doing good.
I thought he stayed composed. Like, he knew he had him hurt, and he didn't swarm because he knows Nate is dangerous.
I just thought his punch, like the punch technique, was a little wild at some points where I think he was trying to like end it or like close in on the finish.
Yeah, but he didn't. Yeah, the punches got a little wild, but he didn't rush in because he knew that.
Oh yeah.
Then Nate comes out of nowhere. I think it was his first knockout in the UFC.
Oh wow, good for him,
but
man.
He's an entertaining dude. And then he does this whole Nate to train, baby.
I like that. I will say this before we get into it. I had this card going and I knew I was gonna come on here and talk about it, but also there was boxing and I was watching boxing as well. So I was like back and forth on 2 screens. So I had this muted in the meantime while I was watching boxing. There's MMA people such as yourself who are shaking, oh, the dang kids and their dang boxing, like.
No, it's the other way around. It's, oh, you kids and your MMA. I gotta watch the fisticuffs under Queensberry rules.
My uncle, it's funny, I was watching it with my cousin and his dad, my uncle Mike. He came and watched a UFC fight here. Maybe it was I don't know, back in February, and he was like, "You like to watch and I'm like, you like to watch human cockfighting?" And I'm like, "Bro, who are you? Are you John McCain reincarnated? Like, why? Nobody says that anymore. Nobody says that."
And John McCain even retracted that statement.
Right.
I think it was the last thing he said. It was on his deathbed. He was like, I was wrong about that human cockfighting comment. I take it. And then, then he checked out.
I saw that. It was a live video. It was a live feed on his Facebook before he passed. I saw that.
Yeah. He was like, 2 things. He was like, if I had a better running mate, I would have beat Obama, and I take back the human cockfighting thing.
It's not too bad. Those guys ain't too bad. I think that was on his tombstone, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it is, I think it's so funny when you said that, because I'm like, that's stigma, my uncle. And then he ended up watching the whole card. I forget which card it was.
Oh, yeah.
And he it was the Brandon Moreno Rovell.
Mm-hmm.
He ended up watching that card with me, and my cousins were here and my godfather. And he ended up sort of like asking questions and sort of, we even, made a friendly wager on the co-main event that night. And he was very like glued and like trying to like understand what was going on. So I don't think we have a full new MMA fan, but it's a slow convert. Have you heard of my Lord and Savior MMA? You know what I mean? Like that type of thing.
Yeah. That was my uncle, my dad's brother, maybe 10 years ago. He was kind of like, oh, you watch that MMA stuff? And he was a boxing purist. Like,
oh wow,
watched every boxing fight. Now he's a hardcore MMA fan.
Oh, great. Look at that, man. Yeah. You'd love to see it.
I know he used to listen to the show. I don't know if he still does, because he got so into it that we would be doing like hot take back and forth text. He'd be arguing with me. I'm like, I don't know about this. And but yeah, he's like all in now.
This is who now? Uncle Frank? Is that what you said?
This is my Uncle Tommy.
Uncle Tommy, if you're listening, man, just let us know. Let us know in the comments. Really out there listening, whether it's morning, evening, afternoon, whatever time, just let us know.
Yeah, he's not an in the comments guy. He might shoot me a text though. Like,
there
yeah,
you go. Shoot a text. Shout out to Uncle Tommy. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Since we're just gonna cherry pick here.
There we go.
Did you catch Andre Petrosky knocking himself out against Jacob Malkoun?
No, do I need to watch this right now?
Yeah.
I'll put it on.
Pull it up, and I want you to get a live reaction of. Yeah, I mean, this. They're calling, the official call is a soccer kick to the body, but if you
see
watch
that on Wikipedia.
Yeah, that's not what happened.
He said that's inaccurate. Somebody
Yeah.
made fake news.
Are you able to see the video?
Yeah, I'm trying to fast forward it real quick. I don't want to go too far down the line with this.
And now I don't know how this fight was going up to this point, but and
when
I
does
want
this
you to
end?
watch
Hang
it.
on, let me pause this. When does this fight end? So this fight ends
39
round
seconds.
round 3. Round 3. Okay.
Round 2.
Round 2 it ends?
Yes.
Oh, round yeah, round 2, 39 seconds. Okay, perfect. I'm at 4 minutes, 46 seconds of the second round. We're letting it play. I don't know who's who right now. I'm going to read. Okay, Petros's he's in the black and Malkan is in the white. They're doing some little jabby jabs.
You got both of those names way off.
That's right. I am so correct. He's going in for a takedown. Oh my God, what was that? Oh my God, what was that? What was that? Why did he fall?
So what happened was he slammed the side of his head on Malkoon's hip and knocked himself out. So he dove in for that inside single so hard, he knocked himself unconscious. And it was one of those delayed, where there's like a 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, and then he starts staggering and falls down.
Incarnation.
Now, the reason they're calling it soccer kick to the body, because after he fell down, Malkoon jumps on him, kicks him in the body, and then Gary Copeland jumped in there and separated. But what really knocked him out was his head connecting with the hip.
I just saw it. I just ran it back, and I was like, what?
Yeah, you have to watch it several times to even kind of wrap your head around what actually
because he's still going forward. The guy moved and he's still going the same direction after like the attempted takedown. Like the look in the words of the kids, the look.
That is what the kids say.
That is what the kids say.
Your son saying that one yet?
No, I don't cuss around the critter. We don't say those kind of words. Those are potty words. We don't say that. But when I go on MMA on the Rocks, we can say that.
You know what's funny? My daughter polices my wife and I, where she'll be like, "Daddy, that's not a word you should say," and it'll be something. It's usually something mild.
No.
Like shut up or something.
Right. And she's like, we don't use those words here. We don't say that.
Yeah. She's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
How? we like you tell it anytime she tells you that from now on, just tell her this. We liked the other kid better. And then just see what she said.
Yeah. But you're still the one we kept for some reason.
Yeah. We kept you we kept you. We got rid of the other one. We can do that. We can do that to you too. Just want you to know that.
This is an unfortunate circumstance. For whatever reason, when you're on the show, I tend to drink more.
Bro, do you remember that episode that we did for 3 hours and got completely trashed and I had to delete the last 30 minutes?
I remember that we did it.
Right. I don't remember what was that.
But I don't remember what happened. Yeah, so I was on an episode of Loaded Joes. This was before my daughter was born. So this is probably 7 years ago.
Yeah, it's like 2017, dude.
I remember I was sitting there with a bottle of Monkey Shoulder scotch, and I got very far through that bottle. And I know we did like a 3-hour episode. It was like a Joe Rogan level length.
Yeah.
Not quality, but length.
Yeah. I mean, maybe some parts were quality,
And there was a half hour or an hour and a half that went missing?
It was 30 minutes because we had to come back on air because I don't know, so like it was me or you, like the internet like went out real quick. So then we came on for it was like 38 minutes. And I was like, oh, this is not neither one of anybody's friends, family, or coworkers should see this from us. And so I don't know what happened to it. We may never know.
Going to be available on our Patreon.
That's gonna be behind a paywall. Yeah, of course.
The Lost Loaded Joe's half hour. What did they say? Was it racist? Was it
Alex
xenophobic?
Jones is already doing a documentary. Listen, we got the documents to prove that these guys were talking all about the CIA. They all know what's going on. We didn't want to give out. We're going to get to the bottom of this. Guys, everybody check out Infowars.com.
That's a good Alex Jones.
Funny enough, I saw him Tuesday when I went to go to Specs, which is like a local
okay, yeah.
store.
All right, yeah, let's get into that because this fight card sucked. But and I do want to get we got to talk about a couple other things. Like I want to talk about the Weidman stuff but all right. So you saw Alex Jones at the liquor store?
Yeah. So in town. So you guys have like what's the one you go to? You go to something depot, right? Like I imagine. So I just imagine it's like a big.
Liquor store. Liquor Depot, the one that and that's actually a good memory. The one that I kind of like push out on my stories and stuff. They're a local liquor store. Now they have 5 locations in the area, but they're still like mom and pop, very mom and pop. But yeah, we have like Total Wine and the other big chain here is Lucan's.
Okay, so much in the same way, at least here in town, we have in Texas, there's like a thing called it's much like Total Wine, like Specs. But I'll say this: if you think Total Wine, think Target. If you think Specs, think Walmart. That's right.
All right.
People don't want to be working there. Everybody looks unhappy. It's kind of dirty. It smells weird. You don't really know why, because it's like what are they hiding here? What's going on? However,
it's alcohol, right? It should be.
Why is there a funny smell? Right. Like I walk into Total Wine and like I feel like I'm greeted with like a flutter of birds, like like I hear music and I'm like, this is fun. It's so bright. I just feel like my credit score goes up by 2 points every time I go into Total Wine.
Comparatively, yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like every time I go into Specs, it goes down, so it kind of it equals out. But so think that, right? Like it's like a Texas own type thing. Specs is, and I was looking for a specific brandy. I don't know if you're a brandy fan. If you are, there's one called Odessa that's made in the Ukraine, and it's very inexpensive. And of different brandies that I've tasted, it's actually some of the best tasting brandy that is like out there. So I was telling my the owner of my gym about it, and he gave me some money, and he was just like, can you get me some bottles? I live north. He lives like way north. And he's like, the Specs is by you. Like, just can you pick it up? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely, bro. Because I've told him about it. He's a big brandy fan. So I go Tuesday, 742 in Austin, Texas, at the Specs off of Brody. If anybody wants to look up if any of these places are real. And I walk in, and like I'm like, I know exactly where I need to go, where I need to be. And in the distance, I hear this voice, this really distinct voice. And I know it because I do an impersonation occasionally on friends' podcasts. And it's sort of in the background. All right, I'll talk to you later. And so I'm like, wait, what? Like, was that like, you hear it and you're like, but that's not that's it's probably somebody that had some like old guy with like glasses, like that's like has long hair, and you're like, oh, they just kind of have a raspy way. They've probably been smoking all their life or whatever. You don't think it could be the thing that you think it could be.
But something clicked when you heard the voice.
Absolutely. And so this dude turns around. I kid you not, just built like a barrel of a man, and he starts walking by, and he just sort of like. I think the thing with Alex Jones is I think there's still a lot of public scrutiny. So I'm sure when he's out, he's just sort of trying to, stay in his lane and do his thing. He passed by me, and I, under my breath, thinking that I said it louder than I did, stood there with my hands, like my palms out, hands down. And I was just like, oh my God, you're Alex Jones. Said it just like that. And he just kept carting by. Pretty sure he thought I was a freaking weirdo, but I thought I said it louder where he would stop. And then also too, like, I'm like, oh, my friends know if I'm like, oh my God, it's my buddy Carl. Like, what's up, Carl? He don't know me. I should have just been like, hey, bro, big fan. I do an impersonation of you. Hope you keep living your life, and also too, if I would have said big fan, like people would have been like, "What? You're?" I'm like, I'm not a fan. I've heard him since 2006 when I was a kid, and like, he's wild, he's crazy, but you know what, man, he's an Austin boy, and like, he's cool, but he probably did some stuff he shouldn't have done, whatever, you know what? But I'm still like, hey, man, Alex Jones, you ever need a ride to the airport or something? Like, hit me up, man. I'll help you out, type thing.
Well, he listens to this show, so
yeah. So Alex, was you're listening?
Obviously.
I definitely got you, but yeah, he just carted on by me, and I thought I told him hello, and I did not. I just whispered it, like stood there like a freaking freak, like I looked like straight creep. I looked like a creep.
I picture you standing there like Edward Scissorhands, just fucking
very much like I was starstruck. I was starstruck, and then he just seemed like a nice guy, like he was talking to people in line, and I'm like, why did I froze for like you know what? If you're gonna put this on the clip, I froze for Alex Jones. That's what happened. That's what happened, bro.
You went full Elsa.
I should have just let it go and it just said hello,
Yeah, let it go and say hello. That's all you gotta do.
Put that on a bumper sticker. Whoever does that, you're gonna make $1 million right now. But yeah, I saw him Tuesday here in Austin, Texas, in South Austin, at Specs. He was buying some like whiskey and some beer, and then he stepped out of line. He kept his cart there, stepped out of line, went to go buy a nicotine, like a little nicotine, the pouches and little contain. He looked through one, he saw it. I literally saw him, and he's just like, and then he just I don't know if he normally buys it. Maybe he just caught his eye. I don't know, but he liked the flavor of whatever.
I imagine he gets down with some nicotine along with some other stimulants.
Oh, here's the cherry on top. If this story isn't already crazy, he was wearing a NASA shirt. That's it. He was wearing a NASA shirt, like a throwback NASA shirt. And I was like, of course, Alex Jones walks around town with of course. Is his life real? Am I living in the Matrix? Like, what's hope?
I felt like such a creep. I left the brandy on the shelf. I followed him to his car.
Long story short, I didn't buy the brandy.
Yeah. I am actually wearing an ankle bracelet right now. I'm on house arrest until 2026.
That's how I got my third felony, y'all. Yeah.
But I know what you mean. I've loosely experienced this. I don't get starstruck because I don't give a fuck about famous people.
Okay.
I've been starstruck a couple of times.
Wait a minute, stop.
I don't normally get starstruck.
Okay, well, that sounded like the Rick James when he's like, okay, he's like, what am I gonna do? Just kick my feet up on the couch? I get something to do. I got a little bit more sense than that. And then 2 seconds later, he's like, yeah, I remember kicking my feet on that couch.
All right, so all right, listen, there's been a lot of whiskey.
All right.
So
all right.
I don't care about mainstream famous people. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
So one time though, I was in Japan and I had just seen a UFC fight night at the Saitama Arena.
What?
Yeah.
Which one? What?
Yeah. So it was UFC fight night. I don't remember the number, but it was Josh Barnett versus Roy Nelson.
Oh, snaps. How cool. What an experience, bro.
And I just happened to be in Japan. So both my wife's brothers live in Japan.
Okay.
So we were there on vacation for 2 weeks. It just so happened that there was a UFC. I think it was like the second day we were there.
Wow.
So of course we got tickets. We were kid free at the time. So we could just
do whatever you want.
Do whatever we want. Like we could day drink. We could,
night drink.
Get on a train.
You don't have to sleep. Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
Get on a train and go somewhere. We don't have to worry about if there's a playground nearby or,
kids menu of any sort, or is it kid friendly?
Is there chicken nuggets within 10 square miles? We didn't have to worry about any of that shit. So we got tickets for the UFC. It was at the Saitama Super Arena, which of course is famous for countless
Pride.
Yeah, events.
And wait a minute, before not the type of Pride you're thinking about. We are talking about Pride FC. As what I want to just make sure that we know about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think listeners of this show know the type of Pride we're talking about. But
in case a new listener pops up, we're live on YouTube. In case somebody just clicked on this and they're like, oh, I kind of know a little bit about UFC. I have friends that follow MMA because of me. and don't know a thing about Pride. And so I've had to. They're like, Pride. They did some gay stuff, and I was like, no, it was a. Okay, let me show you the Wikipedia page. Like, there's a whole thing. It was a whole league.
Yeah.
Anyways, just want to clarify that for
different time. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, before the Pride that we know, there was another Pride where there was soccer kicks and there was yellow cards. And a great time was, and all the fighters were coked up and on steroids. It was a great time. So this is sacred ground. I'm like, I get to go to the Saitama Super Arena. So it was a weird experience because we had just flown from the East Coast of the United States. It was our second day there. And the event airs prime time in the United States. So it starts at like 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, it was an early card.
So we're in this dark arena. And of course, we're drinking beers and we're watching the fights. And like, this is incredible. Like, oh, there's Kenny Florian. He's doing the awesome. So 2 weeks later, we're in the Tokyo airport going home. And I'm looking to pick up some Japanese whiskey to bring home with me. And I'm Mr. Oblivious. I never notice anything in my surroundings whatsoever.
Perfect.
My wife is Mrs. Observes everything.
CIA agent.
She goes, hey, isn't that guy that we saw fight the other night? And she doesn't really know anything about UFC. She just went, for the beers and the good time. She didn't have the same like sentimental attachment.
You know why she went? Because she had a hot date.
That's true.
Oh.
And we never saw him again. But
we may never know who that was.
Yeah. I don't know. He was wearing a big hat. I couldn't pick him out of a lineup. In any case, she's like, that's the guy we saw fight the other night, isn't it? And I look, and there's Josh Barnett just like shopping for whiskey in the
big old giant of a man, though.
Humongous.
Yeah.
I'll send you later. I took a picture with him, but before I could get the picture with him, I was like, my wife's like hit me like, what's his name? And I barely utter, that's Josh Barnett, with no intention of going to talk to him. And my wife just walks right up to him. She's like, hey, Josh Barnett, we saw you fight the other night.
You know what? That's like the fearlessness because of naivete. In your head, you have it built up, but in her head, she's like, no, this is just somebody that my husband. Look, we just tap him. He's a normal dude. Yeah.
And she's like, oh, my husband's a big fan. And then she like brings me over to him like I'm a little kid, which is exactly what I felt like.
Grabs you by the wrist, not even like not even like, come on, grabs you by the wrist.
So many things I wanted to say. Oh my God, youngest UFC champion. Oh, catch wrestling. I've studied your whole career. And I'm just like, hey, it was a total flop, but whatever. Wow. I got a picture with him.
That's cool.
Dude he's 6'5".
Yeah, he's a giant.
And I think he's as wide as he is tall. So if you look at the picture of me and him standing next to each other, I'm not a big guy. But I look like a child next to him.
Compared to him.
I mean, some days I wake up and I feel like I'm a grown man, but when I see the picture of myself and Josh Barnett, I'm like, oh, I'm just a little kid with a beard.
I think it's healthy. Like you keep it by your bedside, just keeps you humble some days. Just brings you back to earth.
Yeah. Which, I guess we all need sometimes. But anyway, I got a cool picture with him. It turned out his girlfriend at the time, who was a Bellator fighter, she wasn't yet a Bellator fighter. She became a Bellator fighter.
Okay.
And so he introduced us to her, and then we wound up running into her at a UFC fight night in New Jersey. And we're like, hey, remember we met you in the Tokyo airport? And she's like, fuck yeah, I remember. And then she actually came on an episode of MMA on the Rocks.
Oh, how cool.
Yeah. Oh, it was very serendipitous.
Of course.
The whole thing. So I've probably told this story a few dozen times on this podcast. So apologize to all of you who have stuck it out with me. Those of you who stuck around and didn't leave me when the Loaded Joes when the Loaded Joes community came around and he found all those other wonderful MMA podcasts and left me in the dust.
So funny.
Or for those of you who left and then when those podcasts disintegrated, came crawling back. And
it was so sad to see some of those ones go, because like some of those I listened to, and I was just like,
there were some good ones.
Damn, man, yeah,
some bangers.
It was a whole era, bro. It was a whole era. It's a whole you had to have been there era. Yeah. I want them to make a Netflix just documentary about that era of like MMA podcasts and to see how it is now, like, and include those, because everybody who was in it, Kobe's Corner was there. You were there. Obviously, you know, Fight Talk was, the Irish guys were there. You know, like everybody was there. Like it was, it was crazy. It was crazy to see the amount of people. Dan Tom is still doing it. Dan Tom was there. You know what I mean? Like we had
Dan
people
Tom's
who I
OG.
see. OG, bro. Ian Parker, who does, you know, he was there. He was on Loaded Joe. He was on episodes of Loaded Joes. I always knew that he wanted to do talk. He would always hit me up every other week, bro. Like, can we do an episode? I'm like, bro, I ain't got the time this week, or I'm doing this. And so I'm so glad that he found an outlet, because I know he loved talking. He loved talking about fights. And so it's crazy. Like if people go, I mean, ever stumble upon it or whatever, they're asking us, there was just the who's who of like people who like I now see like on like the UFC when they throw the tweets up, and I'm like, oh, that dude, man, I interviewed that dude, or like, oh, I know that dude, or like, oh, that dude was in the community. I don't think he ever came on, but like, cool guy, you know. James Lynch, right? James Lynch still doing it. I was listening to his podcast, the Parting Shot podcast that he did with Adam Martin. Like it was one of the ones that I listened to when I was first starting. And so to have him on, that was sort of a surreal experience for sure. And to still be friends with him, still see him doing good and you know, doing his thing, bro, it's awesome. So like for people that don't know, like there's connected and respected, right? Like I have nothing but great things to say about people, and I hoped I did, you know. And it's bro, it's very humbling to come on here and like at the top of the show and like just like sort of get a shout out, man. I appreciate it. And like that just means what I was doing hit on the cylinders of what I was, you know, trying to do. It made an impact. So it feels humbling, man.
And anyone who's still around from that time would have very similar things to say, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But
I hope so.
I did promise that I would only be nice at the beginning. It would be ball breaking from then on. So.
Right. It's already been an hour, so now it's time for
now I can tell everyone what a fucking piece of shit you are.
This shitty drunk, bro.
Yeah.
This shitty drunk, bro.
With this Canadian whiskey that he bought at Specs. Bought the last bottle before Alex Jones could get it.
I bet you it was an Alex Jones brand. Fucking traitor, commie.
He's doing cocaine with Alex Jones off the floor of Specs. All right. So let's circle back to Atlantic City. And this is probably what a lot of the MMA podcasts led with, but we're a step above all of them. So we're going to do it an hour deep. And we're going to talk about the Chris Weidman.
Bro, what was that? What was that, bro? That was wild.
All right. So
he's like, I have thoughts.
This is all the headlines, because the main event was
bro. Why? How come the co-main event better than the main event? Like, name me a card where that happened the last time. That's not always
last week.
Wait, what was last week?
That was
Namajunas?
Yeah.
Namajunas Ribas. Oh, that's right. That's right.
That was a stinker too.
Carl Williams, Taffa. No, the co-main event was not better than the main event on that one.
I mean,
is this a hot take? Are we gonna do another shot because we're gonna try to debate this?
I mean, we don't have to do it. Look. Poetic license, all right. Like the main event was not good last week.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't great. It wasn't great.
All right, so let's stay on task here, Chris Weidman. let's be professionals for a change.
Like, damn it, man!
I'm out of Still Austin. We're in crisis mode here.
Oh no!
I'm gonna have to. And here in my office, I only have like the high proof stuff, so it would be dangerous if I pour something else. But all right, Chris Weidman. I think 3-7 in his last 10 fights going into this.
Yeah. It was
39 years old.
Was not good.
Former champ, had no reason to be in there.
Nope.
nothing to prove to anybody.
No one.
Legend, Hall of Famer.
Absolutely.
I'm glad we agree on something. So
All American. That's right.
everybody was talking about how good Chris Weidman looked in this fight. I thought in the first round, I was like, good Lord, he's moving like me. That's how I feel I move when I spar with like the young guys at the gym. Like I was like, ugh. Then
I think,
like he warmed up.
I was gonna say, I think it's because when like here's what it is. This is not a hot take, and for anybody that says different than what I'm about to say, let's argue. When he gets a takedown, people are like, "Oh my God, he's the old Chris Weidman," because he hasn't gotten a takedown in so long. Like that's literally what it is. When he goes in for the double leg single, whatever, when it looks good, when it's not just somebody pushing him off, because he's able to land it and he hasn't landed it in so long.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, "Oh my God, he's returned to form. He just landed a takedown." But for anybody else, if it was not Chris Weidman, they're like, "He just landed a takedown. That's cool. Good."
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, look, we're the same age, which means we graduated college the same time. So 2-time All-American at Hofstra, but that was damn near 20 years ago.
All right. Yeah.
Which is horrifying to say out loud.
I was 15, 20 years ago. That's right.
Look at you young stud muffin.
I know. Full set of hair too. This is all a real. Look at that. That's all a real wig. That's perfect, right? Nice toupee.
Did you go to Turkey for that?
Mexico's way closer.
Turkey's all the rage, apparently. That's where everybody's going for the hair plugs.
The hair plugs.
Like, fortunately, I got plenty of hair to go around too. I'm quite a bit older than you, and I still got all my hair.
I know. I always see with a full set, and I'm like, my man Bill got them good genes.
Only like a handful of grays too. Like you really I gotta get a 4K camera for you to see them. But they're in there. They're hiding. But all right, let's try to get to the point.
Maybe.
And the point is on the finger of Chris Weidman. How do you like that segue? So, all right, fight gets stopped twice because he pokes Bruno Silva in the eye. Gets a stern warning from Gary Copeland, and which Gary Copeland, by the way, like unnecessarily buff. Like, why is this guy so jacked? In any case, so
because he's not in the testing pool.
Fair. We don't even know who the testing pool is now. I don't even know who the drug.
There's not. I don't think there's a USADA anymore for anyone anymore.
Well,
right?
there's
Didn't
no.
they get rid of it?
USADA's done, but they have something else now. But I don't know what it is.
Hey. Okay. Okay.
I mean, I don't think it's at like Bellator level where the drug test for multiple choice. Are you A, on steroids, or B, not on steroids? All right, so fight gets stopped twice because he gets poked in the eye. Ending sequence: Bruno Silva goes down. It appears to be from punches from Chris Weidman, whose hands got somehow 5 times faster than they were in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
So Bop puts him down. Couple of hammer fists. All right. He gets his hand raised almost in front of the hometown crowd. You know, Atlantic City, just a hop, skip, and a jump away from Long Island, New York. Go back to the replay. Double eye poke.
Double eye poke, man. Classic John Jones playbook move, man.
Yeah. Even John Jones was like, damn, I wouldn't be that blatant. So a lot of people up in arms about this and like, oh, it should be a no contest. It should be a disqualification. We got to slow down with all that because in order for it to be a no contest or a disqualification, the referee would have to determine intent. And since the referee thought it was a TKO and called it a TKO on the spot, you can't go back and say, even after watching the replay, you can't go back and say he intended to do that. So you can't have a disqualification. So anybody arguing that, it's a moot point. We can't go there.
You're mute.
So it was a ruled a TKO at first, and then they reversed it.
Technical decision.
Yeah. So what
Unanimous.
they did was deduct a point for the eye poke, and Weidman still won the entire fight up to that point because Bruno Silva pretty much didn't do anything except complain about getting poked in the eye.
It's weird if they deducted a point still because like it was all like 30-27 across the board.
Was it still?
Yeah. I don't know how.
So maybe they didn't deduct a point, but
I don't think they deducted a point. It was just 30-27. And it was like, okay.
Okay, so all right. I might have had some wrong information. But so they decided instead of a TKO, they're gonna just go to the judges' scorecards up to that point.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it could be a 30-27.
I mean, that would normally be what it was, right? Because it's 3 round, 30-27. They've all decided that he won all 3 rounds, which is. But I was like, Bruno didn't win
the third round wasn't finished. I guess maybe they judge like whatever.
They're judging what they see up into that point. They're like, this is what I would have scored it if it ended right now.
So, Weidman won the fight.
Yeah.
People are up in arms because of the eye pokes, and like, yeah, it's shitty, but like
I'm going to tell you what I'm up in arms about at the end of what you're saying. But continue.
But Silva didn't do anything to be in the fight. Like he just wasn't. He wasn't in the fight at all. Like a couple of times he threatened. Like he landed a couple of big shots. And credit to Weidman, 39 years old, walked through those big shots. That probably would have wobbled a lot of people. Because Bruno Silva, he can crack, man.
Yeah.
But all right, tell me what you're up in arms about.
At the end of the fight, when they asked Weidman about the eye poke, and he's like, listen, he basically admitted that he eye poked him, and it was like, you can't fold when you get eye poked. You need to stand up. Bro, you just said you eye poked somebody.
Yeah.
Can we talk about, wait a minute, Weidman, before the other, can we talk about the fact you basically are admitting you eye poked somebody, and you're like, but don't fall down. You don't fall down when you get eye poked, bro. Maybe I'll fall down. Maybe I won't. I don't know what I'll do if I get eye poked, bro. Like, yeah. But don't tell me that don't be like, hey, I won. But you know what? If you fold when you eye poke, I'm going to punch you. Yeah. Because that's what you just said on the. I was like, why is this not the headline? Weidman admits to eye poking and saying, if you fall to the ground after I eye poke you, I will punch you. Like, why are we not talking about that?
I posted a meme about this today. So he went over and talked to Bruno Silva. They had a little heart to heart, and I think he had to walk him over to the interpreter to tell him. Like, I would love to hear the audio of this where the interpreter is like, yeah, I'll tell him that. And then he gets on the microphone with Bisping, and he's like, yeah, my advice to Silva was, if you get poked in the eye, don't fall down.
Right. Bro,
because
what?
Then the fight will get stopped.
What?
Meanwhile, he made him look like Justin Long at the end of Jeepers Creepers.
Oh my. No eyes, baby. No eyes. Eyes straight missing.
He fucking sunk his eyes into the back of his skull like he was calling the 8 ball.
Wow. That's so graphic right now. Everybody go watch Jeepers. Pause this. Go watch Jeepers Creepers and come back and then. Just look at a gift.
That's a dated reference, isn't it?
Bro, I don't know many people that like have actually like remember, like I know our age been like, oh, Jeepers Creepers, like, oh yeah, Justin Long, yeah. But like you say, Jeepers Creepers are like these young kids out here in the streets with their tight pants and their TikToks. I don't know if they've seen the Jeepers Creepers.
Well, Jeepers Creepers, basically a movie about a dude that cut out people's eyes. So that's the reference.
Long and short of it.
Yeah. And side note on Justin Long. So on Disney Plus right now, they have a Goosebumps.
He's like the bad guy in there. He's a good guy and then a bad guy.
Spoiler. In any case, my daughter's super into it. She loves.
Oh, nice.
She loves. I mean, she's 6, but she loves scary shit. Like we mentioned Edward Scissorhands earlier. She loves Edward Scissorhands.
I did when I was 6. I did. I feel like that's a normal thing.
It's not.
I'm normal. Like it's a normal thing.
You're not.
Tim Burton, dude. I watched so much Tim Burton as a kid, and that's why I turned out.
That's not normal. It's not made for kids.
That's why I turned out so normal, dude.
No, it's not. That's why you thought you were talking to yourself in Specs when Alex Jones walked past you. That's probably, we could probably trace all this back to you watching Edward Scissorhands as a 6-year-old. And I'm putting the same trauma on my daughter. So she watches shit that like I thought was fine. Like she's watched most of the Harry Potter series. Come to find out, you know, siblings of her friends that are 8 and 10 years old are terrified to watch Harry Potter.
What? The Dementors probably, and Snape, and it can't be Voldemort, bro.
Yeah,
it can't be Voldemort.
A bunch of, I mean, there's some scary shit like that big snake in the second one.
Oh, Nagiri, yeah, that's a.
So
yeah.
in any case, my daughter loves the Goosebumps series. We're like super in it. We've been watching like 2 episodes a night for this past weekend, and she's like, "Oh, I want to see the next episode of Goosebumps." And there's a little adult innuendo in there that we have to kind of tiptoe around when she asks questions. In any case, I don't know where he's going with this. Jeepers Creepers. So Weidman pokes him in the eye twice at the end, and that's clearly why he drops. And then Weidman is like, I told him, like, next time you get poked in the eye, don't fall down, man.
Don't fall down, guy. All right, thanks. Keep that in mind.
Like, hey, next time you catch on fire, just don't burn.
Bruh, duh.
Like, just, you know, extinguish it.
I only stole from you because when I told you I'm robbing you, you handed me your stuff. Just next time you somebody tells you they're robbing you, don't hand them your stuff. You won't be robbed, bro.
Yeah.
Duh.
I mean, we could go on and on with this, but I agree that should be the headline. Like he clearly admitted, like, and even after he was sternly warned by Gary Copeland, he's still fighting like this.
Right.
Which I get it. You know, I'm there. I'm still sparring with the young guys at the gym. I use the high guard all the time. Granted, I do it with 16-ounce gloves on, but I use the high guard all the time to keep my distance.
Yeah.
Because these kids are younger and faster than me, and I don't want to get hit in the face anymore.
Right.
So I get why he's doing it, but 2 eye pokes and he's still this. And what I wanted was a win for Chris Weidman here, however it came, and then a retirement speech. Instead, we got a controversial win and him saying like, I still feel good. I'm going to keep going. Let's see what happens.
I'm eye poking the rest of y'all. Y'all better watch out.
It's like, no, I wouldn't want him to. Going into this fight, I would say a win any way it comes and then a retirement speech. But now I don't want to see him go out like this.
He's eye poking everybody, bro. Well, hide your kids, hide your wife, because they eye poking everybody out here. That's what he's.
That's a more dated reference than Jeepers Creepers.
Okay, but did people laugh? Okay, next question. Whatever makes people laugh.
Everyone over 40 laughed at that one.
I'm 35. Like that came out, like hiding in your window, snatching your people up. So y'all need to hide your kids, hide your wife.
Yeah, you're 35, but you were watching Tim Burton movies from 6. So like your level of development is that of a 40-year-old. We have to, because
it's like basically you're my age, bro.
Because Edward Scissorhands was PG-13. So there's,
I don't know why. It was not a bad movie.
No, it was a great movie.
Yeah, it was a great movie. I don't know. I was PG-13. I don't know what are you blocking me for?
Well, the neighbor that's like trying to fuck Edward.
The overly sexual neighbor.
Yeah, there was that, and then there was a little violence at the end where he
he stabbed somebody. I get it, but like,
yeah, he stabs the kid from the Breakfast Club, and
he deserved it though.
I guess that gets it to PG-13. Like you can't call that movie PG.
They would have, like a few years before it came out, they would have because there was only G, BG, and then R. So like there's movies like from the 80s that are PG that have boobs in them, bro. You see like girls full frontal and or like not full front, but like topless, and you're like, this is a PG movie? What do we?
Hell yeah, it is.
Right. Like I get it, but like also like what about the rating system? Well, the rating system didn't get updated with the PG-13 until in the like late 80s, right? So like technically kind of could still be a PG movie. I don't know.
It's not, and you're traumatized. And you need to just
He's like, talk to your therapist about you're seeing her next week. Great. You need to unload some of this.
Yeah, you got to bring this up because there's a lot of things we could trace back to this. And listen, I'm in the same boat. When I was 5,
okay.
Oh, we're gonna get this. Is like this should be content. Yeah, this should be content for your podcast. But whatever, we'll get into it here. We got 8 people on the live show right now at 11:30 on a Sunday night.
Shout outs to y'all, first of all. Shout outs to y'all. Ask any questions, any live questions, anything you want to ask. Like, I feel like probably Bill talks a lot about MMA. If you want to know about like what's going on in his life, or like you want to know anything about his past secrets, go ahead and ask the questions right now. It's the time to do it.
Yeah, ask the questions that will make you want to stop listening to this show. But all right, so when I was 5, my dad was watching me one day. I don't remember what the circumstances were. My mom was off doing something.
No.
He sits me down and has me watch the first 3 Hellraiser movies.
Bad idea. All right, continue.
Yeah, not great parenting. So now, for those of you who've never seen the Hellraiser movies, it's basically like there's a cube that gives you access to hell if you solve the puzzle, and these monsters come out of it and drag you to hell and torture you for eternity. Now, the main guy is a guy called Pinhead who has nails
all over his head.
Yeah, and then there were other characters called the Cenobites who were just
demons,
various demons. So at the end of the second or third movie, my dad says, you have to pick one of these monsters that you would want to fight, and the one you pick is going to come in your bedroom tonight while you're asleep, and you're going to have to fight that one. So here...
Wait, was this the start of MMA on the Rocks? You decided to drink and do MMA at the age of 5.
That's why I started training MMA, because I thought from that point I was going to have to fight a hell demon in the middle of the night. So wow. I train to this day to prepare for that moment.
For the hell demon, yeah.
When that Cenobite comes in my room, like maybe the guy with his stomach pinned open, or the chick with her throat pinned open, or maybe Pinhead himself. And I've got a strategy for each of them.
Nice. I like this.
So
you're a coach now. Of course you do.
Oh yeah. I have to strategize.
Duh.
Yeah. So I'm like, listen, the guy you're fighting, he might have a head full of nails.
And this is what you would want to do when
you got a game plan for this. Mm-hmm. So, in the bucket, I'm going to have ice and a cold press and a hammer.
Right.
And if he comes out with nails in his head, I'm going to throw you the hammer, and you're just going to fucking
nail. Just
drive them all home.
Right.
All right. So can we put the Weidman thing to rest? I mean, we agree that it was pretty ridiculous.
Before we get eye poked, let's put it to rest. How about that?
Joaquin Buckley, impressive performance over Vicente Luque.
That dude's wild against, and especially against like somebody like Vicente Luque. Like I like watching Vicente Luque fight. Like he's fun. He's gonna knock you out, or he's gonna get knocked out. That's usually how that goes. Like 90% of the time, that's how that goes.
Yeah.
And I don't like to see him lose. I like to see him win. I don't like to see him lose. But Joaquin Buckley, I mean, again, they promote this guy. Like I was like, who's Joaquin Buckley again? And all they have to do is play that damn highlight of when dude caught his leg, and he just does a little spinning kick right to the other dude's head.
Yeah, I think that's what the technique is called.
The yigga-ba-da.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what they call it.
Taekwondo black belt, the yigga-ba-da. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I think that's what they call it. So yeah, that will be what he's known for forever. The spinning jump kick knockout over Sanganai, who is doing very well.
Great in PFL, bro. How didn't he just win a belt not too long ago? Like that guy's doing great. So. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So big win for Buckley, and Luque was doing a good job staying pretty tight throughout this fight. Mm-hmm. So Buckley says he wants a main event against Michael Venom Page. So what do you think about that?
Not happening.
Not happening, but are you interested?
No.
You're not?
Things I would not like to see. That's top of the list, right? That's like top 6.
That's top of the list of things you don't want to see.
Top 6. I said top
Buckley
6.
and MVP.
No, I don't want to watch that. It's crazy.
Why?
I want to see Wonder Boy MVP. There's like at least 4 fights I'd want to see before like Joaquin Buckley comes up on my list of MVP.
Okay, but if they made it,
I'd watch it because of MVP, not because of Buckley. And I mean, I get it. And just because I said that, think about this. Like, I said that, and then, oh yeah, you need to pour a little sipper, bro. Come on, man.
yeah,
Still being lame.
well, I felt a rant coming on, so I thought it was a good opportunity to reach for a bottle.
It is a perfect opportunity. I mean, and the reason I just said that, right? Like, it's like, oh, I'd watch it for MVP and Buckley. Again, that's what Buckley wants. Like, Buckley ain't got like a name. Buckley has a highlight. He doesn't have a name. It's like an artist that has a song, but you're like, oh, you're the guy that sings that song. But yeah, I have like 6 albums. No, but you're the guy that sings that song. Like, Buckley is the guy with that one hit single that you're like, oh, I know that song. I don't know who that. Okay. Ask people that's the song Return of the Mac. Ask them who sang it. Less than like probably 30 or 40% of people can tell you it's Mark Morrison, right? Like, they know the song, they don't know who sang it. That they know the highlight, they don't know who's behind it. That's what Buckley carries with. That's the promotional power of Buckley. And so he wants a fight with MVP. It would be exciting, it would be fun, right? But like, he wants it because MVP is going to sell the fight. Like, people are going to watch it because like MVP is going to. For everybody else who doesn't know who Buckley is, it's MVP fighting some guy that he's probably going to beat. For MMA fans, it's going to be maybe a competitive fight.
Is he probably going to beat him?
No. This is a casual viewing. This is not just like my opinion or something. I'm just saying, as a casual viewer, people who know like MVP, you know, oh, I saw Bellator. He just did good in UFC. Okay, cool. Like, he's fighting some guy. MMA fans know, oh, he's fighting Buckley, and Buckley is the guy that did the thing.
I think a casual viewer is more likely to know Joaquin Buckley than MVP.
Yeah, no.
Because a casual viewer is not watching Bellator.
Sure, but like, yeah, they're not. But like, that doesn't mean he's not all over. Dude, I've had friends that send me MVP clip. Here's the thing: we live in a different time now. I've had friends that send me MVP TikToks. Like, is this guy in UFC? Like, no, not yet, bro. And then now the time around, I'm like, actually, he is from UFC, and he's still crazy. This guy's great. They've sent me clips, Instagram, TikTok, you know, YouTubing, sharing, whatever. Okay. He makes his rounds because of his highlights.
It sounds similar to Joaquin Buckley.
I've never had anybody send me a Joaquin Buckley.
Nobody sent you the Impa Kasanganai clip?
No, they have not. But everybody has seen it on like an ESPN. Like,
everybody's seen it.
Everybody's seen it on like ESPN. So like, I hear what you're saying. Like, you're like, what about the promotion behind it? Them. Yeah, I get it. Like, people again, but it's just like I just said. They couldn't name his name, but they know.
So what's the weight behind like one viral UFC finish and 6 or 7 Bellator finishes that are
you know what it is? I had friends that sent me. I get this one a lot. The when MVP finished Cyborg, and then did the Pokemon thing at the end when he threw the Pokeball. Ridiculous. The level of disrespect that all of Gen Z loves about that, because they're disrespectful little shits. Okay. They love his finish. Like, right. Like, there's a certain character element that MVP brings that he used, you know, he just did different stuff after his finishes. And so within that, you're like, I don't know. This guy's crazy. It's an MVP. I don't know. I don't even know his full name. I know the initials, or I know like the Pokemon guy. Like, that guy's cool, you know?
Okay. That's fair. Yeah. All right. So I've been saying for weeks, MVP Wonder Boy, like, that's the fight. I would have liked to seen it 4 years ago, but like, that's the fight.
Yeah.
There was talks of MVP Ian Gary, which is somewhat interesting.
It's good. It's not as good as Wonder Boy. Like, I'd watch it. Like, if they're like, we want to build MVP, we want to put him against Machado, cool. Like, I'm gonna watch it. I want to see like, top of my list, number 1. I want to see Wonder Boy MVP. That sounds that sounds sexy, baby.
I mean, that's the fight. But it's like, again, 4 or 5 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
main event, pay-per-view, whatever.
Everywhere,
Like, yeah.
everywhere.
Now, I don't know.
Fight night at Atlantic City.
Apex.
Apex fight night, baby. Let's go.
Yeah. Third fight down from the main event. All right. So real quick, Manon
Okay.
Fior, unanimous decision over Aaron Blanchfield. The only thing I disagreed with about this one, I think I saw a 50-45. And to me, Aaron Blanchfield
All
won
across the board, I'm looking at the unanimous decision card right now. All
Yeah.
across the board, 50-45s. 3 50-45s, my
I
friend.
thought Aaron Blanchfield won the first round.
You might have thought that, but the cards say 50-45, 50-45, 50-45.
So just to recap, what happened was Manon Fior wanted to prove a point that she could grapple with Aaron
Homegirl.
Blanchfield.
Yeah.
And she couldn't. So she dove into the takedown and almost got submitted. And for me,
That's close.
For me, that won Aaron Blanchfield the round. But then after that, it was Manon Fior was like, stay the fuck away from me.
Away from me, yeah.
And
let me keep you at distance as much as possible.
And she did a great job of doing that. Now, I said last week that if somebody won this fight impressively,
yeah,
it's a title shot. And Rose,
what if you win it unimpressively?
But now it's between Manon Fior, who had an unimpressive win in a main event, but she has a win over Rose Namajunas, who had an unimpressive win in a main event last week. So what do? Do we rematch Fior and Namajunas, or do we give Fior the title shot? Like, it's tough, man, because you have 2 weeks in a row women's flyweights just
being booty, bro. Being booty.
I mean, let's call it what it is. Like,
call it. What are you calling it?
It sucked. Sucked. Like the main event.
The crazy thing is, maybe this is a hot take I should have came. Women fights, they fight with usually, not always, but usually they fight with more intensity than the men. And I enjoy women MMA fights most times more than like a lot of the prelim guy fights, because these guys they won't fight each other, but the women are like, we can take a like smash them, rock them robots, like they're trying to get at it most of the time.
Okay, so let's get into this, because I know you've always been a big advocate of women's MMA. I know you followed
Invicta,
in great detail.
Yeah, Alexa Grasso is still my wife technically, so.
Are you guys married?
We didn't tell anybody, but sorry, everybody out there,
Well, I guess. All right, so do you think this is a case of, so when MMA started,
yeah,
men fought a little bit more aggressively. There wasn't a lot of technique.
Don Fries. Give me Don Fries all day long.
And then it got to be, there was more skill and there was more at stake. There's more money at stake. There's more notoriety at stake. So we started to see guys starting to play it safe.
Yeah.
Now, women's MMA came along a little bit later and got introduced to the UFC much later. So maybe we were seeing that same ferocity we saw in the early stages of, strictly male MMA.
Keep going.
Now
keep cooking. Let him cook. Let him cook, y'all. Let him cook.
Now we're starting to see, the skill level catch up. The female MMA fighter I brought up earlier, who was at the time dating Josh Barnett, she told me that she believed women's MMA was about 5 years behind men's MMA. And that seems to line up. So do you think that's what give or take 10 years?
Yeah.
So do you think we're starting to see that, where now it's like they're getting to the point where the skills are catching up and the stakes are catching up, and we're starting to see more tactical dare I say, boring fights. Because you said,
I'm gonna give you the prototype of this to
yeah,
illustrate your point. Holly Holm. What was
mhm.
she do? What was that girl doing before UFC? She was knocking everybody out.
She's beating ass.
She like knocking people out. She wasn't just winning decisions. She was like knocking people out. Then she comes in UFC and has like 2 decisions, and then she knocks out Ronda Rousey,
Mhm.
right? But like, she was fighting tactically, and people were like bored with it. But it's like, she is the evolution at that point in time of women's MMA.
Mhm.
Like, girls are fighting smarter. Like, they're not just fighting with egos all on their gloves. They're fighting with tact, and this woman has strong tact and strategy when it comes to stand-up fighting, and she brought that into MMA. And
Mhm.
that was so I think that is sort of the thesis beginning point of, like, if we can only identify certain fighters that do this, because I think there's certain fighters that they don't give a shit. Like, they're like, I'm gonna come at you and I'm gonna beat the shit out of you.
Nate
Um,
Landwehr.
that guy right there, dude, perfect example. Like, I don't give a shit. And there's women fighters like that as well. I'm trying to think of who it is, because I'm so much going on in my mind right now. But let me stick with Holly Holm point right now. She is the prototype of exactly what we're seeing with some women fighters right now. She's the
Mhm.
prototype of Rose Namajunas. Rose Namajunas fights an entirely different way now than she used to, or it changed. It always changes every single fight. And it's kind of gorgeous to see the evolution of it in front of our eyes in such a compact part of time.
Mhm.
Between 2019 and 2024, women's fighting has. And then let's even go further. Between 2014 and 2024, women's combat sports in UFC, when it comes strictly just to this, watch them, and it's like almost every single card. Like, it just, like, it looks, the women look more evolutionary, more strategic, more tactic. It looks incredible. And I say it, I'm like, women, like, as if they're like something less. They're not, but it just looks more and more impressive for anybody that were doubters that they should ever. I mean, it convinced Dana White in the first year. He was like, well, shit, I was wrong. Like,
Yeah.
women should have been here, because a lot of the time, I will say this, like, statistically, if a gun to head statistic, 65-70% of the time, they're fighting with so much heart, and like, they're just trying to, like, make each other, like, work hard for that 12K that they're earning or whatever that they're doing, because they're underpaid and, like, they're on the prelim card. But damn it, if it isn't an entertaining fight, man, most of the time. And then some of the times you get the evolutionary, women trajectory that's sort of like streamlined off of what Holly Holm was doing long before what everybody's doing now, as far as in women MMA and
Mhm.
UFC. And it's strategic, and it's not fun to watch always. It's tactical. I'm gonna hit you more times than you hit. Very boxing minded, oriented, right? But it does the trick as far as getting the win. But
Yeah.
does it do the trick in getting you where you want to be? Does it do the trick in getting you that title shot? You get a win, but you don't get the title shot. And then, like, what does the win count for at that point?
Or the star power, because
Yeah, nobody cares. Nobody cares about decisions
yeah,
unless it's an entertaining decision.
and like, do we really have, and this might be a hot take, might not. Do we really
Ooh.
have a women's MMA superstar right now?
No, we don't. No. You know who was very close to it, and then she got beat. Damn it,
Shevchenko.
Shevchenko. And I'm okay with who she got beat with, because, again, we're married
Your
already.
wife, yeah.
Right,
I
my
mean,
wife.
yeah.
Duh. I'm a big whoop, y'all. But yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay that happened. Was not okay with the second fight, though. That shit was what? What?
Yeah.
What are we talking about? What are we that was weird.
Mm.
That was a weird call. But, like, yeah, I mean, there's people who, like, Ronda Rousey, defied the odds, because she just so you gotta be a certain amount of not, I don't want to say promotable, because everybody is, quite honestly, everybody's promotable It's just about who they want to
No,
promote.
they're not.
Yeah, they are.
No, they're not.
You're right. You're right. You know what? I've done an MMA podcast, and there's certain fighters that would come on, and it was like talking to a piece of plankwood. Like,
Yeah.
you're right. You're right. Okay, so most to half. How about that? Is that fair? Most to half, they're promotable. Like, you can promote them. You can put them in front of some. They've got character. They've got some sort of,
Most of them don't have character.
What do you mean they don't have character?
Most of them don't. Most fighters don't.
They're just all fighters. They're just like all brutes.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. I'm not going to fight this point with you because you're in the trenches with fighters, and you probably, if anybody could gauge personalities, it's a podcast host who's a trainer at a MMA gym. How about that? And I'm sure that you could gauge personalities of all the people that come in and coming out and be like, you're kind of, I have more fun with a number 2 pencil than I would talking with you on my podcast.
Yeah. And that's a lot. And I'll give you another piece. And this is something I do kind of behind the scenes.
You're their therapist too?
No, but close. I do PR advising for fighters.
No, you don't, bro. What?
Yes.
Since when? When did this happen? When did this happen?
A lot of them don't. Well, all right. So
why have you called me to be a PR like consultant? Like, at least I could be like, listen.
So it's not something I do like for money. It's something I do like.
Still hit me up. I'll help you, folks. I'm entertaining.
There is a market for this. So PR is what I used to do. I used to do PR for probably the biggest technology company in the world. I won't say its name, but it rhymes with lamb's tongue.
Right. Facebook. That's right.
Yeah, exactly. So most of them just don't get it.
Yeah.
They don't get it. Like, oh, I'm fucking 300-0, and I've never lost a fight, and I finished all my fights.
Okay, great.
More. You need
more.
Great.
Next question. Yeah.
You need more than that. Who's the biggest star in MMA?
Still Conor McGregor.
When's the last time he won a fight?
Never, ever.
It doesn't fucking matter. Is the right answer. It doesn't fucking matter. People want to see him.
Everybody watched Roadhouse for 2 reasons, and the first one was Conor McGregor. Oh,
can we talk about Roadhouse?
We can't. I actually. So funny enough, I did a breakdown on my channel. Everybody go check out Nerds at Night. I did a breakdown for the Amazon releases.
Why do I not know about this channel?
Because I just told you at the beginning of this, I don't share it with my friends because there's no support that I get. I am getting more support from strangers.
But I would support this.
I know you would. Yeah, I've only shared it like 3 or 4 times. And so totally. Nerds at Night, NITE. Just like Nick at Night. Yeah. So I did a Roadhouse breakdown. I did an Amazon Prime breakdown because they released a movie earlier this month called Ricky Stenicki. Very funny movie with John Cena, Zac Efron, Andrew Santino.
I gotta check that out.
It's very funny. Yeah, if you got Amazon Prime, I actually saw it a week ahead before it got released. I saw it at Alamo Drafthouse. They had a sneak preview. Very, very funny movie, and it's the director is Peter Farrelly, who was one of the brothers that directed, Dumb and Dumber. There's Something About Mary, Heartbreak Kid,
countless,
everything that we grew up with, right? And sort of fell off. Like him and the brother, they both kind of. They still directed long into Pat. It's like a fighter fighting past their prime. Like they directed like Three Stooges and like Dumb and Dumber 2, and you're like, nah, baby.
Yeah, Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, no, not the Dumb and Dumber, because that was a prequel that came out like early 2000s. Yeah. Dumb and Dumber 2 was Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels. They came back to do a Dumb and Dumber 2 movie, right? And it was directed by the Farrelly brothers, and everybody was like, "Yeah, that's going to be great." It was not great. It was not great.
Okay.
So, anyways, Peter Farrelly, so Peter Farrelly directed Ricky Stenicki. So also too, I was like, let me break down Roadhouse, and I had a fun time with it. I don't think it's the greatest movie of all time. I'm not probably going to watch it again, but it was a fun way to spend 2 hours. I had a fun time with it.
It was a bad movie.
Sure.
I loved it.
Yeah. It's a B movie. It is a 2000s B movie, and I think we live in such a cynical time where everything either has to be great or it's not. We forget that there is a space for movies that know that they're not number one, and they're way okay with leaning into it. That's what this movie did.
Listen, the original Roadhouse was
a B movie as well. Yeah.
It was a bad movie. I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
I still love Roadhouse is one of those movies, and I said this last week, so sorry for being redundant, but I don't have much material. It's one of those movies where, and I don't even have cable anymore, but if I turned on the TV and it was on at any point in the movie, I would watch to the end.
Yeah.
It's one of those movies for me, but it's not a good movie. Like, I can't argue for you that you should watch it, like, because there's no substance. There's no reason for it to be a good movie, but I love it.
It's a fun ride, like going to a Six Flags or something, or some amusement park. You're riding a ride not because you think it's the greatest ride of all time, but you're like, because you want to have excitement for 30 seconds. You're like, it's horrible. The spins were horrible, whatever. But you know what? I screamed a few times. That's what it was.
I mean, I've been a Disney annual pass holder for the last 5 years or so, and I've been on some terrible rides, but I love them because I see my daughter experience them.
Right? Yeah.
I'm like, this ride is fucking shit, but she's having a time of her life, and I'm like, this is awesome.
This is a great ride.
This is worth the $150,000 a year it cost me to go to Disney,
and also the 30-minute wait for the ride because everybody has fast pass at that point.
Well, so all right, here's where I have to shout out my wife, because she's a master of navigating the Disney Fast Pass, and also we would go so often we would know like what time of day to go to which park.
Ooh, brother. Ooh, all right.
I've got the Disney.
You got the Disney hacks, my dude.
I do. I have a lot. I could do a whole separate podcast.
My kid is going to go to Disney World. I hope we meet before then in person. We've never met in person, but I hope we meet in person before and if that is the first time my kid goes to Disney World and we meet,
I got you,
brother. We're doing the damn thing.
I'm going to tell you where to stay.
Ooh.
I'm going to tell you how to get all the alcohol into the park.
Ooh. Do they search you? I don't understand. Wait a minute.
Listen,
do they search you?
I can tell you offline. I can't tell you here.
Oh, okay.
Because the Disney police are always watching.
But do they search you or not? That's just a flat out question. Like if somebody they do. No way. That's crazy. Okay.
Yes, but there's ways around that.
Great. I love this.
All right.
Roadhouse was fun. Conor McGregor played himself. Conor McGregor played himself. Like they literally wrote it. I don't know if it was terrible. I just okay. Here's the thing.
Like as an actor, like terrible. But
I'm not asking him for him to beat Willem Dafoe in a bad guy movie. Right?
Yeah.
Like I'm asking him can he play himself? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, way better than I could have done for like a major motion picture.
Absolutely. And you know what I loved about this? The fight scenes felt pretty legit. I don't usually like fight scenes, dude. Like the fight scenes, there were some moments. Here's the thing: we're gonna nitpick it. There were some moments where like they just quick edited and they go somewhere else. But like the kicks felt real. The kicks felt real. The punches felt like you know what it was? Combination sequences of blocking, combination sequences of what you would throw that makes sense if you were like a fighter. They work. Like it legit work. Like it legit works.
I can tell you why it works, because my father-in-law was over for Easter dinner tonight, and he was talking to me about the Roadhouse movie, and he was like, "That guy that played the bad guy, is he a real fighter?"
And you're like, maybe, kind of. Hey, you said kind of.
I was like, he almost knocked out Floyd Mayweather.
He died. You know what? I have to. What's that, Mom? Mom, I gotta go right now. It's funny, dude.
I knew that one would get you.
That's funny.
But I was like, yeah, he was actually, world champion in the UFC. Like, he's a real fighter. He's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, he's like, those fight scenes look real. My father-in-law is 84 years old and doesn't follow MMA or boxing.
Yeah, he doesn't know combat sports. Yeah.
And he was like, that was impressive. He liked it. So, all right, let's change gears real quick because we're creeping up on 2 hours here, which is like double the normal length of this podcast, but it's a Money Blakeweather show.
I was gonna say, like, are you not entertained?
There's definitely, so believe it or not, the live viewers have increased somehow. We're up to 10. We were at 8. We were well into double digits at some point. So we're still at 10. People are still hanging out.
Everybody, first of all, everybody who's watching, thank y'all so much. If you have any questions, you have any thoughts on Roadhouse, shout them. We're not talking all about UFC, but he'd probably reel me in because he's the Disney police real quick. But you guys got questions about Disney alcohol or Roadhouse? Write them in the comments. Let's hear some spicy takes.
Yeah. I mean, we don't get a lot of comments on here. We don't get a lot of live. It's never been, for whatever reason, it's never been a live show.
Right. Yeah.
Like
your shit's always been like people come back to listen to this type shit.
It's always been 98% audio.
Yeah.
But I appreciate the people who tune in live.
Y'all make the like more. Anybody who's tuning in live right now, y'all make a channel like this worth. Y'all make a live worth doing. Y'all make coming back week by week worth. As somebody that like still hosts a YouTube channel, y'all make it worth coming back to come do.
Hell yeah.
And hoping that like we come back next week and recapture some of that magic,
And for those of you who are here, the 10 of you that are here, there will probably be a last 30 minutes of this show that will be deleted forever.
We may never see it.
You're gonna want to hit the screen record coming up soon if you want something spicy.
So great.
You're looking a little parched over there, Blake. I feel like you need to.
Oh no, baby! I've been drinking this rye.
You've been nursing that same pour since we did the shot.
Please stop, because you know what? I've also been sipping, and you know me. I was a White Claw fan at once upon a time, but I'm spritzing over here too. So when I'm not drinking actual whiskey, I'm just spritzing.
What is that? I don't even know what that is.
A spritz? It's just like a little spritz. It's like a 6% alcohol, little spritz. Carbonated water, white wine, cane sugar. It's just like a little spritz.
I asked you what it was, and you just said the name of it 6 more times.
It's called Spritz. It's called Spritz Society. Like that's literally the name.
I've never seen this before.
Yeah. It was on sale, bro. Like it was on sale at Specs before I saw Alex Jones. It was on sale at Specs. Like you could buy an 8-pack for $4. So I had to buy like 2 of them.
Oh,
like, yeah.
And it tastes good.
They're not bad. Like I mean, do seltzer waters taste good? No, you don't drink them because you want seltzer water. You drink them because you don't want to get drunk from whiskey. Duh.
Why would you not want to? I know this is not computing for me. I'm drinking Eagle Rare.
I saw the Eagle. Okay, do you want to know a funny story about how I got this? How I got my Buffalo Trace.
Mm-hmm.
I bought it Friday, and I bought it at a local liquor store because I saw their Instagram post. They had, the Eagle Rare makes Buffalo Trace, makes.
It's the other way around. Buffalo
Blanton's.
Trace makes Eagle Rare.
Okay, yeah, whatever. It's all the same company. We all know this.
Yes.
We got the documents prove that you are incorrect, sir. We all know what's going down. We got black helicopters. They are coming around. Let's just keep it the facts. So he sold out of Eagle Rare. He had Blanton's, sold out of all of that. He's like, only thing I got is Buffalo Trace. And I have the Wellers, like the 1.7 liter Wellers. And he's like, you know what I'll do? He's like, here's what I've been doing. You have to buy this tequila in order to buy anything that is related to any of those whiskeys. And I was like, why? And he's like, because the distributor said I have to buy 6 boxes, 6 carts of Siete Luegas? Is that? Hang on. Oh, this one right here. Siete Leguas. It's a smooth whiskey. I mean, it's a smooth tequila, very smooth tequila. But he said you have to buy that tequila in order to buy any of those whiskeys. And I was like, well, what do you got left? And it's like, well, you can buy the Wellers or you can buy the Buffalo Trace. I already have a Wellers back here that I bought from Total Wine. And I was like, you know what? I need to buy a Buffalo Trace. I had to spend too many monies on the tequila to buy the whiskey.
Can I ask you what they charge for the Buffalo Trace?
$45. And he said that, hang on, he said that was wholesale price, which is a bunch of bullshit. Hang on, bunch of bullshit, because that Wellers that's behind me right here, back here, I bought this at Total Wine for $24.99, and it was in the same section with the Buffalo Trace, which was also $24.99. I know what wholesale price is, but I let him think that he knew that he was talking about, like, he was trying to sell me on some shit. But I was like, you know what? I came here for the goddamn Buffalo Trace. Like, I'll just buy it. That's fine.
So, and then how much was the tequila?
It was inverse. So if this was 45, that would the other one's 54.
Oh, so you bought $100 bottle of Buffalo Trace.
Right.
All
Absolutely.
Right. So, all right, here's the thing. I need to drop a little whiskey knowledge here. So, Buffalo Trace, the distillery, makes products that are what's called allocated, which means they limit how much every liquor store can get.
Mm-hmm.
Buffalo Trace itself is not allocated.
No.
It should just be available on the shelf. But through the course of events, when people find out that the other stuff that comes out of this distillery is rare and hard to find, liquor stores picked up on this and they started making the Buffalo Trace rare and hard to find. Meanwhile, they've got cases of it in the back.
Yeah, in the back.
It should be readily available on the shelf.
Yeah.
And yeah, I bought Buffalo Trace for like $21.
Yeah, I felt like $24.99 is like, it's not far off from what the price.
That's
like
what it should be.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Catch a good sale around $20, but under 30 is what it should be. But a lot of people take advantage of the fact that they know rare stuff comes out, like Blanton's, like Stag Jr., like E.H. Taylor, Eagle Rare, all that stuff.
Right.
They take advantage of this stuff. So,
but anyways, that tequila that I bought, though, I told a buddy of mine who's a tequila mezcal like aficionado. He's like, dude, Siete Leguas is like a legit tequila. I will tell you this: if anybody's ever wanted to try tequila without the tequila burn, buy Siete Leguas. Like the most legit, the most legit tequila that I've tried, and I'm a big Herradura fan. If you buy Herradura Ultra, it tastes like bubblegum.
I love how the Mexican comes out when you say Herradura.
We'll do more. We'll start an OnlyFans for the MMA on the Rocks, and I'll just say Herradura.
Yeah.
Ultra.
Everybody's like, can I get the Herradura?
But yeah, I'm a huge Herradura fan, and also I'm a huge mezcal fan. I don't typically drink tequila because it sort of has like that weird sort of aftertaste. This Siete Leguas does not have that after, like, well, you know what? In all fairness, this was all kind of well worth it because they don't have Buffalo Trace at a whole bunch of places.
That's what it comes down to. Like I've overpaid for bottles that I really want. Like, so for example, Weller.
Yeah.
Can't find it in the state of Florida.
And that's a special reserve one. That's a green label, right? That I showed you, right? So like it's all of Weller's nice. Some are better than others, but I like that one. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
the green label is like the baseline one.
It's nice. It's nice.
It's very good. It's a wheated bourbon, which wheated bourbons tend to be on the sweeter side.
Yeah.
All right, I'm not gonna nerd out too much. If you do a nerd episode on bourbon,
we're just gonna have the time of our lives, and I hope people
I'm
can
your
be
guy.
entertained by it. Yeah.
Yeah. So sign me up for that one whenever it is. I'm available.
Yeah.
So
all right. What are you doing? What are you doing?
So in the state of Florida, you can't get Weller.
Why?
Because there's one chain liquor company called ABC that has an exclusive contract with Weller. So they get all of it.
All the Weller.
None of the other liquor stores can get it.
So do you have some or not? Do you need me to send you some?
Yes, and I will send you some Buffalo Trace in return.
Okay, great.
If that's something you can't get. If Weller's readily available by you, yes, let's work out some kind of trade.
I'll talk to you. Like it pops up randomly, but I can find you some and send you some for sure.
So what ABC does is they have what's called a vault program. So you have to spend, let's say, $2,500 in a year at their liquor store in order to qualify for the vault program, in which you may have an opportunity to buy Weller.
Oh, so it's like Willy Wonka's golden ticket at that point.
Pretty much. It's Willy Weller's.
Willy Weller's golden ticket at that point.
Yeah. It's a total piece of shit operation. Like anytime ABC comes up in my Instagram ads, I always comment, end the vault program.
He reports it as propaganda.
So it's actually like they have an exclusive contract. I don't know when the contract ends, but no other liquor store can have Weller whiskey in stock except ABC. And
here's what's weird. Hey, brother, it's you tell me that, or it reminds me of like everybody knows that meme that brother, what is that, brother? It just reminds me of that. But it's weird because I bought that Weller's at Total Wine here in Texas, which is so strange.
And Weller Green Label is something that should be readily available on
readily available, bro. Let's go. What are we talking about?
Yeah, Weller also made by the same people as Buffalo Trace.
Right. Yeah, and Eagle Rare and Blanton's.
Yeah. And the reason it got popularity is because the Weller 12 year, which is the black label, is the same mash bill as Pappy Van Winkle, which is the most sought after, rarest whiskey that comes out of Buffalo Trace. So it's kind of like the reject barrels of, like, it doesn't meet the standards of Pappy Van Winkle, so they bottle it as Weller 12-year reserve.
I saw this. I didn't drink it, but on Christmas, I go with my dad a lot to go eat out sometimes, and they shot us out an Eagle Rare. I guess it was a 20-year or 25-year bottle, and it had like this like whole case.
Oh yeah,
and it had a glass, and it had a light that you flip on the bottom, and it like shines on. I'll send you a picture of it on Instagram.
It's the Eagle Very Rare.
Yeah, it's
that's actually what it's called.
Oh, is it? It's called Eagle Very Rare?
Yeah.
Wow. Anyways, the guy came over and he's like, I thought y'all might want. We didn't get that. We got Pappy. because I had Pappy. But dude, it's a whole presentation for a 20-year-old bottle, bro. And he's like, there's only like one of like 5 in the state of Texas, and we have it here at this Brazilian steakhouse called Casa de Brazil. So if your buddy Matt's coming to Austin, go to Casa de Brazil. Go get some. They got great whiskeys, and you just get some good.
Dude, my diet is basically 90% carnivore. I could get down with Brazilian steak.
When are you coming to Austin, bro? We have been
friends. That's a great question.
We have been friends for how long, and you still have not. Like,
it's got to be 7-8 years now.
Yeah, dude. Like legit. Like, and it's funny because I came on MMA on the Rocks, and I think me, you, and at the time Jeff at Animal Wilson. Shout outs to him. Hope he's doing great.
The animal's doing well. He's just
Yeah. I mean, we're still friends on like Instagram. Like he still like likes my shit and I like his shit. But shout out to Jeff because that was your partner at the time. But like we all clicked at that point. Like, and this is the thing of like you talk to people about like fighters about PR and stuff like that. Like, bro, like I'm not a fighter, but like I PR I go anywhere, and everybody was like, bro, come back, hey. They do the Lionel Richie, baby, come back. You can blame it on. No, that's not Lionel Richie. That's the players actually. But anyways, like it's that whole thing. Like you want to come back. So like I remember I came on your show because I was a fan of your show first. I didn't just like be like, hey, Bill, can I come on your
the only one at the time, I think.
I was the only person on MMA on the Rocks actually living the life. But yeah, like I came on your show and like we just hit it off, and then you came on Loaded Joes, and we just hit it off again, and then we just kept in contact. And people know, I don't know, people know, like we just keep in contact. We just kept in contact for like the last year, here and there.
Keep in contact. Yeah, you and I, we chit chat. Probably not as much as we should.
But the last year has been different. The last year has been different.
Well, like yeah, because you're a dad now. Now you know the life. now you're in the club. Now you're in the over the top, under the influence, MMA fan, boxing fan, combat sports fan, and you're a dad.
Also, my kid is half Brazilian, so he has to do jiu-jitsu, and he's going to be the UFC.
Oh.
Which champion do we want to make him? What weight class? I mean, he's thickly, you know what I mean? Could we make him middleweight champion or light heavyweight? We can talk about this. But you know what? He is gonna. I have done stand-up combat since 2009. I also trained like legit jiu-jitsu when Renzo Gracie had a gym here. It shut down in 2010. And I hadn't gone back to like a legit jiu-jitsu gym since. I also messed up my knees. I just like rubbed my. You didn't see me, but I just like rubbed my knees because I'm like, oh, my knees are mangled from not stretching. But I've done stand-up combat sports since 2009. Boxing, I taught karate, kickboxing, and now I mainly focus on like boxing and like I would say Dutch style kickboxing, right, where it's like hooks and like the low kicks and then the elbows and like I mainly like I focus on that. Mm-hmm. But my boxing, 35-year-old Blake, if he sparred 20-year-old Blake, beat the shit out of him. Like my technique and my knowledge about where my footwork needs to be, how I need to move. I'd beat the shit out of my young self, bro. Like it wouldn't even be fair. All that to say, right? Like, I don't even know what point I was talking about. But yeah, all that to say.
You were talking about, so the point you started on, which I feel like a bit of a tangent, is that we need to meet in person.
Yeah, man. So when is this going to happen? Why haven't you been to Texas? Why do you hate Texas so much, Ben?
I love Texas. So
apparently not.
When I was working at that big technology company, I got
at Facebook. You're working at Facebook. Everybody already knows this, brother.
All right, it was Facebook. I don't think they're a technology company, but
they're like social media technology.
Yeah. But I mean like hardware technology. In any case, I got sent to Dallas quite a bit.
Okay. Nice.
I enjoyed it. I spent a lot of time working in Dallas and got to love Dallas. Everything's super spread out there.
I'm lifting my chair, but keep talking.
I've been to Austin one time.
Damn, man.
And I loved it. I only spent like 4 days there, but
not enough time to enjoy.
No. But in that 4 days, I got to see a lot, and it was awesome. But since that time, I had a kid, and it's just not like a travel destination when you have a kid, is what it comes down to. But I'm finally at the point where I'm starting to travel a little bit on my own. And I think if I were to go back to Austin, it would be just me. So we're approaching that point. Okay. Like, so for example, next weekend,
promise you too, though, it's actually two, despite all the TikTok kids that live here. It's a great fam. Like if your family came, you guys decided to travel, whatever way it is, right? Whether it's road or airplane, I guarantee you hit me up. You're like, hey Blake, what's some family stuff to do? I could load you up with like a week and a half worth of stuff to do from top to bottom worth a week, and like it'd be entertaining for y'all.
I'm
for your
sure
daughter.
you could, but for my enjoyment, I would like to go back.
We're talking about something. He's like, we talking about something else.
I would like to go back to Texas.
Yeah.
Solo. So that's looking more and more realistic. So next weekend, I have to go out to the east coast of Florida. I have a bunch of fighters that are amateur Muay Thai fighters that I have to corner on Sunday. So that's gonna be like a whole day away. And then I have a trip back home to New York planned where I'm going solo for a long
Now
weekend.
that you said that, I'm reminded why it went down the whole like path that I did. It's because like just because I've been around this world for so long, there's still I still promote myself. Being in that world so long doesn't negate you from being entertaining or being using your mouth as a form of being like, hey, I'm promoting myself. You can still do that. Like, and so I have been around this where, you see fighters and you're like, you're fucking annoying, or like, you know what? Like the talk matches the walk. You're kind of cool. And I just think it's such a lost art, not only from a fighter standpoint, but how many podcasts are like, how many YouTube channels on there where you watch it and you're like, bro, that motherfucker's boring, bro. That's just the most boringest shit that I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. Yeah. And like bring livelihood with you. I guarantee you bring a little pizzazz into whatever you're saying, or what. Even if I didn't believe tonight that GSP was the greatest welterweight, I at least put a little pizzazz behind my voice where like it was at least believable.
Dana White said that Kamaru Usman's the welterweight GOAT, right?
Dana White also doesn't do a lot of. He probably does cocaine all the time too. So I can't believe him all the time.
You think he does cocaine?
I don't know if he's ever seen this stuff, but if he has, he's on it all the time.
I might be too. All right,
that's a little too on the nose, though.
Let's. We're over the 2-hour mark, which is.
Do we need to round out? Do we need to round out, bro?
Which is out of this world. Well, I mean, we can keep going. I don't give a fuck. We still got somehow the live count hasn't gone down. We still got the same.
Why instead of are you not entertained? It's like, why are y'all entertained?
Yeah, why are you still here? I have like. So I had like some closing stuff that I wanted to do with you, but I'm not even there yet. So are you good on time? I got to be up early as fuck to take my daughter to school. But
whatever you need. If you need to round out, bro, it is 12:16 your time. I know what time it is your time. If you need us to round out, we can round out. If you don't need a round, because I know we're gonna spend another at least 10 to 15 minutes like post this, just like catching up and being.
Yeah, it's like crazy. Once we decide that is the end, it's gonna taper off from. So this is very unusual. Usually MMA on the Rocks episodes 1 hour done.
But when Money Blake comes on, wait a minute now.
I've been this way for a long time. The hour is the sweet spot because, like I said, it's the audio only audience, and they tend to tap out around an hour. But yeah, whatever. They're gonna miss out on this. The 10 people that are here are the ones we love the most, and I can say that because nobody else is gonna hear this. So fight night next week: Brendan Allen, Chris Curtis. So
can you give me 30 seconds and just sort of round out the card, pull it up, whatever you need to do? I need to go tinkles real quick. I mean, we've been drinking, and then I'll be right back. I know we're live, so like it's whatever though.
Yeah, go and do what you gotta do. Yeah,
perfect. I'll be back in 30 seconds. Tell people about what the card is going on in case they don't know.
30 seconds is impressive. So
I mean, it might be 45. Who knows?
I wish I had one of those timers I could pull up. All right, so Blake's going to take a little breather. So we're going to talk about UFC Fight Night coming up this weekend. It's going to be back at the Apex, and it's Brendan Allen, Chris Curtis. I don't remember who the original opponent was supposed to be for Brendan Allen, but they pulled out. Chris Curtis steps in. This is not a good matchup for Chris Curtis. As Brendan Allen has been rear naked choking the shit out of everyone. And Chris Curtis, we know, likes to stand and bang. But it's an interesting matchup for me. I think Chris Curtis has a really high fight IQ. And can Brendan Allen get this fight to the ground? I don't know. Co-main event, Alexander Hernandez, Damon Jackson. Kind of fun. There's some more interesting matchups as we go down this card here. Court McGee's still doing the damn thing.
All right. So I'm a huge Brendan Allen fan.
You're back.
Yeah, I'm back. I've been a fan of his since he fought regionally, right? Like I interviewed him when he was a regional fighter. Shout outs to Brian Levick. Rest in peace to Brian Levick. He died in 2017. He was the promotional guy for it's funny, man. I got his number from a PR email to a whole bunch of websites. And they were like, if you want to reach out to our PR guy, it's Brian Levick. And I reached out to Brian Levick September, August of 2015. And I was like, hey, man, my name is Blake. I host a Loaded Joes MMA podcast. And he was like, okay, cool. Like, I'll call you in a little bit. Calls me, kind of gets a feel for who I am. And he's like, I'm going to start you off with like regional guys. They like you. We'll be in contact. Every regional guy he sent me. Shamrock FC. Brendan Allen used to be with a organization called LFA.
Yeah, I know LFA.
Yeah, LFA. Valor Fights. No, I interviewed him back in the Valor Fights days. So Valor Fights, this was like a Tennessee, Kentucky like organization in that type of area. And he was still fighting out of there, dude. And yeah. I interviewed him before he fought Eric Anders, who was in LFA, which is crazy. Yeah, I interviewed him a lot in the LFA days, but I interviewed him for that Valor Fights when he fought Sidney Wheeler, who I interviewed also as well. And then I interviewed the president of Valor Fights. His name slips me. Great. He came on my podcast one day and he was just in a wife beater and he was just like, yeah, let's talk about Valor Fights, bro. It's fun. Like just a solid salt of the earth type dude. Like really, really cool. Valor Fights was again just like that regional sort of MMA. I have been a friend and fan of Brendan Allen. So when he cracked on Dana White's Contender Series and then came on UFC, like I've been all about Brendan Allen. Like he's a solid fighter, dude. Like I don't know if he'll ever win a championship, and I hope he does. But he just has a solid skill set, bro. You know, it's one of those things when I used to, like, it reminds me of this, and I'll equate, and I bring it back to me. When I was in MMA gyms, shout outs to UFC Gym South Austin for anybody that lives in Austin. They shut it down because of COVID. But I had coaches, legit coaches in the gym, and they were like, dude, you just have solid fundamentals. And invited me out to fight camps. Again, this is all pre-COVID. Didn't get a chance to do it because of COVID. But like, I think he has just solid fundamentals. Like, I think he's just one of those guys, just solid fundamentals. Like, yeah. Look at his record. Like, it's not terrible at all, dude. 23-5. You have solid fundamentals. Like, you're legitimately doing something right against the opposition. The majority of time, then you're getting it wrong.
Yeah.
Brendan Allen's one of those guys. And I'm a again, big Brendan Allen supporter. He keeps climbing. Let's keep doing it. And I want to keep seeing it. That's my own personal like journey with Brendan Allen.
Yeah. I mean, that's great insight. I mean, it sounds like we need to get Brendan Allen on here.
I could. If you wanted Brendan Allen on MMA on the Rock, maybe me and you. I don't think people understand. Like me and you are like personal friend. Like we have had like phone calls. It been a while, but like, why else would you come on a podcast that has nothing to do with MMA that I'm hosting, other than the fact that like you're like, dude, I really like this guy. We're friends on a personal level, and I'm coming to talk with him about something that has nothing to do about MMA.
You know, my appearance on Unfiltered Bachelor is still one of the most fun experiences I've had podcasting. So if people want to seek that out, if you want to hear me talk about
Spotify it. If you're following MMA on the Rocks on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, whatever podcast app you're doing, type in Unfiltered Bachelor, Bill Welker, guarantee it's going to show up.
That's me. Yeah, I mean, it should. That's very specific.
Why would I not be specific? You're specifically my friend. And like, why would I not be specific?
You're like, if you put in this exact keywords, it should show up.
We got the documents to prove it's one of the best episodes of all time. We got to know that they're making the frogs gay, but the podcasts are straight.
I'm a little biased. It might have been one of the best Unfiltered Bachelor episodes.
I might have been a little biased. It might be too, because again, I don't think people know how often we even talk. Like especially since I've had a kid, but like we talk pretty at least weekly, bro. Like at least weekly since I've had a kid, we've talked.
And by talk, it's like I'll respond to your story. You respond
good, bro?
to mine. It's like, hey, have you gotten over that trauma of watching Edward Scissorhands at 6 years old?
Me and my therapist, we're still working through it. Thank you for asking. Thank you. Hey, thank you for being sensible and sensitive, though. Thank you for asking.
I mean, I expect to be booked on that podcast, by the way.
If you're not, I'm doing something wrong in life, and you should correct me strongly.
Yeah, I mean, I expect an invitation like tomorrow.
What is this going on with this co-main event? Alexander Hernandez. Is this the guy that beat Cerrone back in the day, or he fought Cerrone or something? Oh yeah, he lost to Cerrone TKO. But Cejudo fought Dillashaw on that damn card where like Cejudo lost in the first round to Dillashaw lost the first round to Cejudo. It was like January of 2019 or whatever. That was.
I'll tell you what this co-main event is. This co-main event is two former victims of my friend Billy Quarantillo.
Billy Quarantillo. That's your guy?
Oh yeah. Billy
the Kid Quarantillo? That's him?
Billy, well, they call him
I just nicknamed him that, but I just
call him Billy Q, Billy the Squid. Longtime friend of the show. I've trained with Billy. Awesome dude. He's beaten both of these guys handily.
Well, one was by a decision, and that was Damon Jackson to Anthony Hernandez. However, TKO, knees, punches, UFC 282. In case y'all forgot that one, that was Blakeweather versus Ankalaev.
Mm-hmm.
In case y'all needed a reminder out there.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so beat them both handily. And yeah, that's all this co-main event is for me.
This card does not. You know what? And here's the thing. Here's what I'm gonna say about cards like this. Sometimes when cards don't have any spices on them, no spices, like Brendan Allen, Chris Curtis. Okay, great. It probably gonna be a fun fight.
Yeah.
But when you look at the rest of the card, I'm glad Court McGee. I didn't even know what Court McGee was still doing. I'm glad he's staying out of trouble. Not doing drugs.
Getting in there with fighting. Alex Morano. This is like
Alex Moreno is like, yeah. Like you're like, oh. I also again, Ben, no, he was still fighting. Cynthia Cavillo is still on this card. What's she doing, baby? I'm glad. Jermaine Durandamy. Remember when she was such a big deal?
How about Jermaine Durandamy making a sneaky comeback?
Remember when she was a big deal, guys? If y'all don't, then y'all have not been following this podcast since it's come up. But one of these cards, when I go to Wikipedia and the main event, the main card, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 out of 6 cards, only 6 of the fighters have Wikipedia pages. This is a card where you look at this and you say, this is about to go wild. It's always the cards where people don't have names and shit goes. You watch the last card. Watch everything on the last card. Decision KO, decision KO, decision. Boring. I'll just break it down for casuals. Boring, fun. Boring, fun. Boring, boring, fun. Boring. Right? This card right here, Mike could have a whole night of, I don't know who this is, but they just got an arm. I don't know who this is, but this guy just hit a knee. He hit a knee in the clinch out of no. How did he do that? Right? This might be one of them cards. Every time I see a card like this, I get it. Like, it's easy to dismiss. But
all right, wait, hold that thought. Ooh. This never happens.
Okay.
I'm going to need you to carry this on for 30 seconds while I take a pee. I never take a pee break here on MMA on the Rocks, but
y'all ain't never having fun like that. Y'all ain't never having fun like that. I want that
2.5 hours in. I'm going to need you to take the reins and I'll be right
back. Everybody out here, let me know who Trevor Peak is, Charlie Campbell. I'm not saying that these aren't some of your best friends. What I am saying is name me a card where there's a whole bunch of, it's stacked. You're like, bro, this is the most stacked card I've ever seen in my life. And then it ends up being like a real shit show. Somebody got eye poke, somebody got kneed, somebody got a decision. It's like 5 decisions, and then finally you get a submission. With some of these cards like this, man, you're gonna have so much fun with the prelims. Cynthia Cavillo, like, as soon as I see this, I'm like, bro, what are we talking about here? Jermaine Durant, what are we talking about? Prelims, tune in for that specifically, right? But the main card, just because it doesn't have any named people, and just because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just because half the people, it's horrible. I'm defending people that don't have a Wikipedia page. Just because you don't have a Wikipedia page does not mean you don't know how to fight, or that you won't have something that your friend will send you the next day and be like, did you watch this fight? And it's some sort of crazy flying armbar, or it's some sort of crazy spinning back kick, like, spinning heel kick to somebody's head that you're like, that was not supposed to happen because I don't even know this fool's name. Bro, look out. Like, low key, look out for cards like this. Look out for cards all like this. And think back, if you have been an MMA fan, if you have legit been an MMA fan for a while, look back at cards where there's like no named people and then be like, did I have a lot of fun watching that? Yeah, I did, because they don't have any name and they're throwing it all to the wind. They're throwing caution to the wind. And even if it went to a decision, it's fight of the, like, every single fight on the card is like fight of the night. I want you to expect that with this card.
That's a hell of a promo. It was almost as strong of a promo as you gave for Alamo Draft House at the beat. I almost thought they were an undisclosed sponsor.
I told you I know how to do PR stuff. I said, why your fighters do PR? Why have you not consulted me? Why have you, like, just low key to be like, hey, Money Blake, come just chat.
Okay,
with these fighters,
so
bro.
it's not my fighters.
It's the homie. No. And I don't mean to no derogatory remarks to you or anybody that are your friends, right? But like, you and the homies. I'm gonna say you and the homies. You Fat Albert, and you got the bunch, right? Like, you and the homies hit a player up, bro. But also too, you didn't know what I was doing. You didn't know I was growing another YouTube channel outside. Like, you ain't know, like, I'm trying to do it out here like this. But I am happy to come in and be like, hey, bro, like, let me spend you 15 minutes. Come chat with Blake. Like, again, I ain't, honestly, humbly, bro, I ain't shit for nobody, bro. I'm not nobody. However,
I would disagree with that. Is that going to be a hot take? Because you're going to be, I'll argue you to take another shot.
I mean, maybe I'm setting it up so I take another one. How about that?
You are somebody, sir. You are somebody who brought MMA on the Rocks to like 150% more than I usually do for a show on a Sunday night, especially on Easter, no less.
You know, it's because it's in the words of Vitor Belfort, it's the Jesus. It's the Jesus, my friend. It's Jesus.
I was up at 6:45 this morning hiding fucking Easter eggs. And now here I am. Here I am 12:30 at night talking to you.
Hanging out with Money Blake. But here's the thing, like, dude, again, with your friends who are fighters, just come to like now that we're connected and respected again, like, bro, we've always been connected and respected. Like, if you would have sent them if you'd have been like, hey, bro, let's do a 3-way call. Like, I just want you to come talk. I don't know what I know, but I do know if I talk to somebody that doesn't know anything about like being able to promote themselves, at least I could say like maybe a 1% of a sentence or a word or in a 15-minute call, something that they can catch on to be like, you know what, like, all right, like I need a little bit of the charisma, I've been called that I have chutzpah. I don't know what that. I don't know. I really don't. I'm not from the Northeast. I don't know what that means. But like,
that's not a Northeast thing, man. That's a Jerusalem thing.
Chutzpah. Yeah. Well, somebody. Rest in peace to my buddy Bob Weatherby. He died 2 years ago. He actually got me connected to the church that I go to. Rest in peace to him. Bob Weatherby was from Boston, and Bob Weatherby, you know, he got. I think that there's a certain dialect and certain things that you carry over because you're around a different certain people.
Sure.
And he immediately when he met me, first day he met me, he said, Blake, you got some chutzpah. And I'm from Central Texas. I don't know nothing about no chutzpah. I don't know. I couldn't even tell you how chutzpah is HOODSPA. Actually, that is not at all how you spell chutzpah.
Not even close.
It's CHSZPTA. Like, it's got a whole bunch, but like that is how intellectually deficient on a word like that I had not heard from somebody that I had not met from a region that I had not been. That's all I'm saying.
So it's a Yiddish phrase.
Yeah, right. It's Yiddish.
Which Yiddish is like
Jewish slang. It's essentially
Jewish slang. That's a good way to put it. It's you know, you say shit with no care, and it's meant in a positive way.
It was. Like, it did. He was super positive about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what it is. It's like you say things without caring, but like not to insult anyone, but because you have knowledge to share, and you do. And I would agree. You have chutzpah.
Which is not spelled HOODSPA. I just want to let y'all know that.
It's spelled like chutzpah.
Chutzpah, yeah. It's CHUZTPA. It's spelled. Anyways, everybody lay the line on this card.
I think you nailed it. CHUTZPAH.
Yeah, I looked it up. I had to look it up after he told me. But lay the line on this card, and lay the line on this card heavy for finishes. Because people that don't have Wikipedia pages, much like women in MMA sports, they have something to prove.
Mm-hmm.
Watch this card and watch it with excitement. There's going to be a lot of, even if it finishes in decision, this is going to be one of those cards where you're like, damn, man, like I should have been. I'm going to have to rewatch. I'm going to have to rewatch the fight that my homie told me because these fools just threw down. I feel like this is going to be one of those cards.
All right, prediction on the main event: Brendan Allen, Chris Curtis. I think I have a.
I don't think Chris Curtis. I think Chris Curtis. Okay. Both solid with fundamentals. However, if you use the fundamentals the way that you need to, length, height, speed, all that good stuff, this could either is going to go one of two ways. It's ending in the third or the fourth with Brendan Allen with a TKO, KO, not probably TKO. Or it's going to go Brendan Allen decision because he's just going to keep Chris Curtis at bay, bro. Chris Curtis, I think he's very skilled. This isn't me hating on Chris Curtis. This is me saying I don't think Chris Curtis can get in.
It's you praising Brendan Allen.
Yeah, of course. Duh. Every fighter that's come on Loaded Loaded Joes. Like, duh. Like, I have a bias for them. But he has a certain, okay, for anybody that's a boxing fan and an MMA fan, watch last night's fights against Fundura versus Tim Tszyu, and you will understand exactly what I'm about to say. Fundura could not keep Tim Tszyu at bay. Even though he was 6'6" and 152 pounds, he could not keep a 5'10" fighter outside of range, where the 5'10" fighter, who was an opposite stance from him, who was an orthodox fighter, kept landing the right hook and the right straight on him. Why
Nobody
is that?
watched
Oh, well, I did.
Nobody
Well,
watched that. No.
he said, boo,
right.
this man.
Okay.
But anyways, I'm saying this because I think Brendan Allen is the antithesis of exactly what I just said. Brendan Allen can keep a shorter fighter at range and keep him in that 1 to 2 distance. Jab, straight kicks. He can keep him outside and then choose to go in when he wants to.
Yeah.
And if
he
he
goes to
chooses
the ground, it's going to be one-sided.
And if he chooses to fight the fight that way, it goes to Brendan Allen.
I agree. We finally agree on something.
Damn it, man.
All right.
How did this happen?
All right. We're over 2.5 hours now, so I have to round it off. So a throwback to the Loaded Joes MMA podcast. You used to end your interview segments with something called random ask
questions.
So I have some random ask questions for you.
Let's go for it.
Do you believe I actually prepared for this?
I can't. You know what? It's not that I'm impressed. It's that I'm excited. Like, I'm like, dude, like,
and I'll be honest. I don't prepare.
No, I know you don't, bro. You've never done it since I met you.
No. And I totally wing it. And I'm totally winging it now. But I had in my head, all right, we'll end it with random ask questions.
Sure. I love it.
Now, I know you like to give long response. So I have 3 random ask questions to get you out on.
Sure.
The first one, as a boxing fan and an MMA fan, I need you to tell me in 1 sentence how you feel about the YouTube takeover of boxing. And you have to keep it to 1 sentence.
Gotcha. Promotability. That's all it is. Damn TikTok kids.
Does it hurt or help boxing?
Help.
Okay. 1 genre of music for the rest of your life, and that's all you're allowed to listen to.
Indie.
Wow. All right.
I'm
Not what I was
huge indie fan. Like, I'm a huge hip hop fan, but I'm a huge, like, day to day, like some low key indie.
All right. Very Austin answer. Very Austin.
I was gonna say, bro, if that ain't Austin, I don't know what is.
That's the most Austin answer. All right. Here's the last question, and you're free to go after this.
Ooh.
We'll do a little outro thing, but
Ooh.
Of every movie that Steve Buscemi has ever been in, they're all going to be wiped from the face of the earth. They never existed.
Okay.
You get to keep 1. And he doesn't have to be the star of it. It's just a movie he's been in. Which movie are you saving for humanity?
Can we hold, please? So I can have a Steve Buscemi list?
Do you need a list?
Why would I not? Why would I not make it fair for myself? What are you talking about? Of course.
I thought like 4 or 5 would jump to mind immediately, and then
there was literally one that jumped to mind, and I'll tell you the one that jumped to mind: Big Lebowski. That one jumped to mind.
Then that should be the one.
But that doesn't mean that is the one. Because give me a second.
Are you looking at his IMDb right now?
Wikipedia. It's different. It's so different, dude.
You're a Wikipedia guy, huh?
I am. I'm a wiki guy. We wick here. I thought about, because you said it doesn't matter if he's the main star or co-star. And as soon as I'd already had Big Lebowski in mind. I'm gonna walk you through what I'm thinking. I already
Okay.
had Big Lebowski in mind, and then you said doesn't matter if he's a co-star. And then I thought about when he was Crazy Eyes in Mr. Deeds.
It's a classic. So, I mean, you could save Mr. Deeds for humanity by picking that movie because he
but
was
I
in it.
won't. The one that I will pick for humanity that he was in is Reservoir Dogs.
That's a solid pick.
And any way you cut it, slice it, or dice it, you got to get rid of all the Steve Buscemi movies. You know what, man? Like, I love the comedic nature of Steve Buscemi. So great. He's so great.
I mean, he's pretty comedic in Reservoir Dogs too.
Right. I was gonna say, however, if we had to get rid of that movie because it was like some sort of alien mind erasing, damn it, you know, they type in the Matrix code into, we got the documents prove the aliens are trying to remove all of our brain
Yeah, that's
cells.
what we're talking about here.
Right, exactly what we're talking about. And so, funny, I went back and forth with that. But you cannot remove Reservoir Dogs from the history of movies. You could make it out alive and be okay with not seeing Big Lebowski. You could make it out okay and still be okay with not seeing Mr. Deeds. They're funny movies, but you can't make it out without seeing Reservoir Dogs, dude. The tragedy of characters of a bank robbery gone wrong with an FBI or like whatever, you know, he was like a police informant on the inside the whole time. And I'm not giving away who it is, with a police informant in the inside the whole time with amazing script writing. And I can, and the fact that movie, I can never listen to the song Stuck in the Middle with You. I can never listen to that song the same way ever, never, because of that movie.
I listen to it every time I've drained my cauliflower ear.
Oh, I thought that was a sexual innuendo, and I'm like, no, he's actually draining people's cauliflower ear.
No, I drain my own.
Yeah, because you fucking wrestle every time. Yeah. I no. I was just making a joke, but like for people that don't know, your man's a legit. I watched him, and I was like, what's the motherfucker doing? Like, I was like, he ain't no real coach. And I'm like, oh shit, he's a real coach. Fuck. This motherfucker's a real coach. Like, he really coaching people out here.
I know some stuff.
Oh, dude, here's the thing. That's going to be my movie. Reservoir Dogs is going to be my movie. For you, I remember you were always a wrestling guy, and to see you doing, being a striking coach and also being an MMA coach, mixing all around. I watch your videos with a certain amount of scrutiny as somebody that, like, I legitimately think that, like,
as you
it's
should.
not. Yeah, exactly. As I should. And as somebody that's not just biting off my own tongue. Again, I've been invited to fight camps. I have broken down, like, I've been invited as a scout for people's fight camps. I watch it with a certain scrutiny, and I'm like, dude, like, I think this is great. If anybody's trying to, like, decipher this any further and, like, try to add critique to, you're really just looking for somebody to, like, pick on at that point. It's great. It's great technique. It's great technique. I watch your shit, and I think it's great technique, man. I really like watching what you have to offer to fight, especially. I watch it with the mindset. I'm like, I'm a fighter who knows nothing. I'm a fighter who's been doing this for 6 months. I'm a fighter who's been doing this for 1 year. What do I know? And when you watch your shit, I'm like, this makes doubly sense at that point. Not only does it make sense as somebody that knows, it makes doubly sense at that point.
I greatly appreciate that.
Yeah.
But I want to point out, I started the show by complimenting you. And you're complimenting me at 2 hours and 43 minutes.
It only took that long.
Which I had to butter you up for almost 3 hours to get that. No, I appreciate it. And that's what I go for, man. I'm all about fundamentals. I don't see
no fancy shit from you, bro. It's literally like, can you do this solidly or can you not? And here's the thing: some of your fighters, I'll be honest, I'm gonna give you some good and some bad. I've seen some of your fighters are like, oh, they're 16 weeks in and they're doing some shit, and I'm like, I mean, honestly, you still look like some of these folks still look like trash. But I have to like look back at myself, and I compare it to me because it's not comparable compared to me because I paid for kickboxing lessons from my trainer at Gold's Gym. And then 2 months after that, I became a karate teacher. So then I had to learn karate. And then while I was doing karate in the next studio over, after karate and all the kids picked up the parents picked up their kids, not kids picked up their parents. Parents picked up their kids. In the next studio over, they would rent it out. And it was a studio ran by a guy. His name is Rudy Vasquez, who now owns his own kickboxing gym in Austin, who was coach for Nick Gonzalez, which is one of the biggest fighters out of Austin, Texas. He was his coach who was training out of that gym that I was going to for free because it was in the karate studio that I just happened to work into. It was more of a matter of fortunate. I just happened to learn how to do karate. I just happened to be over here. I just happened to like watch technique. I just happened to have friends that wanted to come do it with me, right? Like all within 3 months. So I'm judging it very much from a different standpoint that most people, like new people, would. So then I have to step back, all part of therapy, right? I have to step back outside of myself and be like, actually, though, is what Bill is teaching this guy helpable? Is he holding the pads the right way? Is he doing the right things? Everything you're doing, bro, all that to say, that's my own internal critique. When I step back outside of my own ego and outside of my own self, everything you're doing for these guys look better and better every single time that they see the flat. It's 4 weeks, it's 6 weeks, it's 8 weeks, it's 16 weeks. Bro, these guys look better and better. And it's here's the thing, not by accident. It's not by accident, dude. They have good coaches, and you are their coach. And so I think all that to say, keep doing what you're doing, man. It looks great.
I appreciate that, man. And for these guys that you're talking about, like the progression videos they post, I only see those guys 1 day a week.
They look great. They look great, dude. I would have thought they would have been with you at least. I'm gonna say at minimum 3 days a week.
No, it's 1 day a week, and then we recently upped it to 2 days a week for some of them. And I teach some classes, but I pretty much do exclusively private lessons.
Yeah, you look like a private. Everybody message PM. You private message type of guy, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty book solid, to be honest. Like, not to toot my own horn or anything, but like, my schedule is pretty busy.
Do you full time? Like for people out there, and maybe I don't know. Maybe you've said, are you full time? Family?
No.
And this?
No. I have a regular job.
What do you do?
So my wife and I have a company here in Tampa where we make baby shower gifts.
Can we end the show now? Like that's too wholesome. That's too wholesome for.
This is the dichotomy of me. Like
that's so wholesome, bro.
By day, I make baby shower gifts.
You make your babies. By night,
I'm a fight trainer. Yeah. By night, I'm beating the fuck out of some babies. I will beat the fuck out of some. Like, you line up 20 babies right now.
You're kicking them all right.
Every single one. I'll go undefeated that night. All right. Let me get the merch, and I'll get you out of here. And we need to talk offline.
We're gonna hang out. Yeah.
Blake.
Yes, sir.
We've been boys for 7-8 years now.
Literally, I don't think people understand that. Literally 7-8 years, and
it's been too long since you've been on the show, and we're approaching 3 hours. This is unheard of for MMA on the
How many people are still alive right now? Just so you tell me.
Still 10. We're still double digits.
Why are they? First of all, why are you here? Second of all, thank y'all for being like, it's a 30-second delay. I know it's a 30-second delay because I use exactly what you used. Shout outs to y'all. Y'all make a show like this work. Keep tuning in to MMA on the Rocks. I can't guarantee I'll be here every week. If y'all are tuning in just because me and Bill have chemistry, did Ryan Gosling always do movies with Rachel McAdams? No. You can't always have a notebook. That's all I'm saying. However, Bill will always be here and he'll be providing some great content.
Yeah, but I'll be here for a lot less time because I can't be up till 1 a.m. every Sunday night. But I'll make an exception when Money Blakeweather is here. Blake.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate you so much, my brother. Thanks for coming on. I knew this was this is Easter Sunday.
Bro. Hey, he has risen, bro. My God has risen.
I know
he's not changing.
This is a special day for you, so I appreciate you taking time out of this day, especially to make time to come here and talk to me and drink some whiskey and talk some shit. And that's what this is all about. And you and I have been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, you've gone off and done other things, and I'm sure they're great, and I hope to be a part of them. I want to be on Nerds Night in the very near future.
You will be on Nerds Night, bro.
So, guys, look out for that. Merchandise links there. You guys know all about that shit. MMA Rocks 10 promo code Reaper.
Go there now. Everybody go there now. Like, listen to me talk, but go there now. Go there.
Somehow the live just jumped up to 12 people. I don't. For those of you that are just jumping in now, you got to go back. You missed out on like 3 hours of stuff. All right. So you two people.
Also, why are you here? Also, I appreciate you being here. Also, we love you all. Also, go to reaper1.co. Also, we're about to end soon. So go back and have some fun real quick.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's Money Blakeweather everywhere on social media, correct?
Yeah. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, anywhere social media is. Reach out to me, Money Blakeweather. It's great.
The last half hour of this show may or may not be available tomorrow.
Likely no, because if it's 11:55 where I'm at, that means it's 12:55 where my guy is at, and I am so cognizant because he not only am I cognizant because he's a good friend of mine. He has a child. They wake up when they want to wake up, and it might be a 7, and it might be at 4:45. We don't really know.
It might be like
right now
when I go lay down. Because that's happened before, too. I finished a late podcast, and I lay down. She wakes up with like an earache or whatever. But in any case, it was worth it. Blake, thank you for doing this.
Thank you, man.
Awesome time, as always. Thank you for everybody who's listened to the whole 3 hours of this shit.
Y'all are first of all, y'all are champions. Y'all are amazing.
And the live keeps going up. We're at 14 now. I don't know why are we bringing in more people at the end. But all of you need to go back, listen to this from the beginning. I don't know what else to say. Blake, you hang out. For the rest of you, cheers, everybody. Goodbye.